What is going down, everybody? On this episode of Rizology, I sat down with Aaron Lohman, huge fat loser. I still hate saying that because I feel like I'm being mean. But Aaron is the homie. He's been on the episodes before with John Panetti and I. I do want to just put a little disclaimer out there. In the recording of my microphone, I did switch a few things around. I switched my mixer over here. And unfortunately, by putting the power brick from this mixer on top of the wires under the basket under the table, there is a little bit of audio interference every now and then. It may sound like a little bit of like an alien hum, electrical hum here and there. I tried to take it out as best as possible in post, but unfortunately, because it's line level, it seems like it's there to stay. So I apologize about the distraction if it is distracting. Aaron's microphone is clean, so there should be no sounds on that. My microphone may have a little bit of a noise interference here and there. But I wanted to start the episode just to let everybody know I apologize on that. I hope it doesn't distract you guys because the message and everything that Aaron and I spoke about was really, truly A1. On that note, enjoy the episode.
I don't know how to say it. So
Tyr.
Tyr.
It's Tyr, yeah. Yeah, it's like the god from Greek mythology.
Oh,
that's really what it
I
is.
had no idea.
Yeah. This was actually one of the prototype shirts that Matt gave me. And this is when he was still in my garage training with me, hanging out. He's like, yo, here, I'm thinking about making some sport clothing and this and that. I said, oh, sick, bro. I love that. And then he blessed me with this shirt, but I was fat, so I didn't like wearing compression. Mm-hmm. And now look at me, I look like a fucking dad out here.
Dude, I
got the compression type shirts on. I wear compression at jiu-jitsu all the time now, and I got Juji Mufu pants on where I look like I'm straight out of the 90s.
I saw the picture you posted in your story about how, dude, you have changed a lot. Like
Thank
physically. You. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's good to see. But like, as far as Tyr is concerned, like So going to Bev's, I saw people wearing their stuff all the time. So when I went online to look them up, this is like maybe a year ago. It was a swim company, and I'm like, I like to support local businesses. I guess this guy's a local business guy. I have no idea. I want to support, but I don't swim, and it's mostly swim stuff.
Yeah.
And then I saw that they had shoes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get a pair. I had no idea that Matt went to Bev's, like none. And then I ran into him. It's actually through Eric. Eric was like, oh, yeah, he works out here. I train him on Saturdays. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, he knows who you are. I'm like, all right. So I said what's up to him. And I told him that whole story I just told you because I think it's good to know. And like, I love to see, and then, obviously like I love seeing what people are into and like learning about how people started their businesses and where the business came from. So I really did a deep dive into what the business was and like how it's expanded. And I love learning shit like that, man.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to see how people progress through things. So, they were always a swimsuit oriented company, and it was cool to see Matt bring this into a new light because it's tough to sometimes pivot like that. So to be able to bring a company from one demographic and now like let's just totally go for another one, it could be a challenge. And it was cool that Matt has like embraced that and gotten a lot of athletes and been able to get like that really going. And then seeing him at where was I? I was in the Arnold? No,
I think in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, that's what it was. It was the CrossFit Games.
Right, yeah.
So I got to see Matt out at the CrossFit Games, and he had the Tyr house, and he had a bunch of different things. I'm like, yo, this is fucking sick, man. I love seeing that you're out here just getting it done.
It's so cool. And even then, like, I went to an NYPD CrossFit event, and like, I want to say half the CrossFit team was wearing Tyr shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I think this is pretty dope. You know what I mean? So
it's cool that it's right here because it's dope. So like now where I go train now, a lot of the people started wearing Tyr shoes because there's a girl there that works with Tyr, and
oh really?
She started giving it to a couple of the girls, and now the girls are wearing it. So Kim is one of the trainers there, and she comes up and she's wearing them. I said, how do you like the Tyr shoes? And she goes, yo, she's like, I got a code if you want. I said, I was just at his wedding 2 weekends ago. I said, plus, I said, I got the prototypes on from day one. I said, I'm wearing these bitches to the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, we got to get you some new shoes. I go, no. I'm R&D. I'm wearing these until the soles fall off.
I was telling him too, like, look, dude, I'm a big guy. I train in them, and even the trainers, the CXT ones, I walk when I tell you like miles and miles a day, like, and I put miles on them. Number one, they're not uncomfortable to walk in, which a lot of these trainers are, and I put miles on them, and they still look like they're brand new, man. Like very, very heavy duty construction. I can't say enough good things about them.
Before using actual like running shoes and whatnot, I mean, I used to go barefoot in the gym, like just with socks. I used to just do socks because I felt comfortable squatting, deadlifting, doing everything like that in terms of just lifting. And then for any type of just like walking around, I would always just do Supras, and then Supras went under during COVID.
I remember those. My old
They were the skateboard.
Yeah, one of my old sergeants has a bunch of those.
Yeah, they were super comfortable, and then obviously things changed, and you have to start looking. And I started wearing some flat-footed Adidas and this and that, but they just were never comfortable. And I got like weird soles. I feel weird if my foot isn't like totally flat but has cushion at the same time. I can't really explain it. It's like a very strange foot. I feel like I have.
No, I get 100% what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's been cool getting to see him do his thing and. Don't you look at my notes.
I'm not looking.
Don't you look at my notes.
No. I just want. But so you were looking at your notes, but before you did that, I wanted to go into like you were talking about OG, man. Like I see those photos and I see that stuff. Like I'm like, man, I really want to go there.
Why'd you come?
Because when you had him on the podcast, he said there's like a waiting list to go there now.
Well, yeah,
so
yes and no.
Like, jump in. You know,
you'll be good, man. Just let me know if you want to. What days you want to go? Right. Tyler and I, we go. Random times all the time.
Am I gonna die if I go there though?
It's different. So it's not CrossFit and it's not weight training. It's kind of like in between. Right. So yesterday was a pretty tough workout. He's doing the 12 days of conditioning now going into Christmas.
Right.
So yesterday's workout was pretty tough. It was 5 stations of 8 or 9 minutes each. Okay. Something like that. I think it was 8 minutes. The station that Tyler and I started on first, it was every minute on the minute switch. Okay. It was on a bench, it was flutter kicks holding a plate over. So for a minute straight, then you go right into a hollow hold. Okay. So you hold the plate, you just hold your legs out. And that's 8 minutes. You back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then the next one was running 10 calories on the treadmill. While you're running 10 calories on the treadmill, your partner is doing that move where they hold the plate over their head and you squat down and put your knees on the ground and then stand, but you don't ever like fully come up. So it's back and forth 8 minutes. So 10 calories.
Pretty intense.
Yeah. Then the next one was elevated jumping lunges. So like switching feet back and forth. And that's for 1 minute. Then the next one was when you have your back foot up on the elevated plate or the elevated platform, and you kick your front leg up, like the athletic that athletic move, back and forth, back and forth. And then the last set, what was the last set? Oh, it was the bike, the assault bike. It was, oh my God, what was it? It was, see, you feel like if you fucking black out, you're like, it's totally. It was a mile, I think. No, I'm sorry. It was a half a mile. And while I'm doing a half a mile, my partner is doing squat thrusts with dumbbells. Okay. And then once I'm done with my half mile, they go on there, and then we just back and forth for 8 minutes. And it's tough, man. It's just different. It's just different training. It's nice because you get your ass kicked for an hour straight, and then you're fucking done. I'm done. Like, I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And it's just it's a good way to just get your shit in. I love Bevs. I've said it a million and one times. I can't go. I can't go anymore. Even when I tried filming there the other day, everybody wanted to talk to me. And I'm flat. I'm flattered. I really am. I really appreciate everybody that wants to talk to me and this and that. But it's like I was just trying to do a quick shoot. Yeah. And it was like a quick shoot turned into 2.5 hours. And I'm just like, oh my God, I got to get out.
Well, I'm sure you having the platform that you do and being as good at what you do, like everybody wants some shit from you, dude. Like I deal with that a little bit, but like I can only imagine being in the space where, this space of fitness, everybody wants shit for free. So I can only imagine what it's like to be you. And
well, yeah, everyone's got a question. Everybody wants to pick your brain. And it's like, I'm cool with, Tyler yells at me. Truth be told, Tyler yells at me all the time. He's like, I'll start hitting these people up and sending them invoices. He's like, if you want. Like they hit you up too much, like more than once after you say like one or two times, like, I'll tell you this, but like after that, there's a consultation fee or something like that. Like this is how I make my money. Like I can't, I've taken years to learn how to do a lot of this, and it becomes very difficult because people just, They just don't YouTube. They think it's like YouTube University. They think that just because the information's out there for free, Nick should just give it to me for free because he knows it already. It's like I've had to cull through all of this information over years to get to where I'm at. So it's like, but like I said, everybody just says, "Oh, I just want to pick your brain." I'm so tired of hearing that. There's no picking my brain. My brain's picked. Yeah. It's been picked for years. There's nothing to pick anymore. There's nothing. It's. I actually had to put it in a lockbox. There's no way to access it. I can barely access it.
And your time is valuable, man. Like your time is valuable.
Yeah. And, just holding yourself to that standard of like, yo, it's cool to help people out and give information and this and that. But at what point is it a nuisance now? And it's like, oh, man, come on, bro. There was a kid who hit me up. There's been a lot of them, but there's a kid who hit me up and he was just asking questions. And I said, yo, dude, I'll give you some free game. I'll tell you a couple things. I said, but after XYZ, you have to like talk to your people, get a consultation done, something like that. And I'll give you all the information you want in the world. But I got to get paid at least something for my time to talk to you and sit here and baby through a lot of this information that is very minuscule and tiny. And he's just like, oh, no. But then like every couple of days he was hitting me up with another question. So I stopped answering him. And it's no offense. Like I hate to come across like that, but at some point I have to like put the brakes on it and just be like, yo, dude, I can't fucking do it right now. I just can't do it.
And good on you for setting that boundary because a lot of people get so burnt out on whatever they're doing because they don't set any boundaries with the people who are constantly around them. And then they can't go on their own self-improvement journey because they're so busy working on helping everybody else. Can I open this?
Yeah, please. Fuck yeah, open that. Hell yeah, dude.
All right, I didn't know if it was going to mess up your thing.
No, I know. I'm not worried about it. I still hear that fucking fridge, though. That thing is so annoying. I got to figure out what I got to do with that. I got to block that off or something. Maybe I got to move it to the closet. I don't want to, but this could be hot in there. I don't know. I'm still figuring shit out. We're still figuring things out. The sound panels above us, those are cool. These behind us, as I mentioned when you walked in, these were supposed to have hangers on them. They don't. I got that from Dr. Scott, so I had a screw in the wall already, and I was just like, all right, I'll just hang it there for a second.
Yeah.
And I went to Home Depot yesterday. I'm very proud of myself, by the way. Went to Home Depot yesterday, not because of my thumb. That was a second trip. But but I went to Home Depot because I realized I don't own any power tools, man. I felt less manly. I was like, man, I'm over here. I just don't know how to do shit. The world really does fall apart. I don't even know how to fucking do anything.
That was one of the first things I did when I got a house is I went out and I bought that like DeWalt like 5-piece.
That I got DeWalt.
Yeah, no, and it honestly, what a lifesaver to know how to do things. And nowadays you can YouTube anything. Besides like electrical, I mean minor electrical I could do, but like I can do almost anything, man. And it's so great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited because I wanted to be able to hang these up. And then, of course, these shipped without hangers. So we wait now for that. But yeah, I was like, you know what, man? I should be able to. What am I going to do? I'm going to pay somebody $150 to come through, hang these fucking things for me. And then that's it. Or I could pay $200, have the tools, and I can use them whenever the hell I want.
Right.
Because there's the other things I want to do. I want to mount this right here, and I have to be able to drill through the table. There's a lot of things. I want to become more self-sustaining, especially if I'm going to move off the grid one day. And I'm just going to podcast in my basement. I want to be able to just like do everything I need to do around the house.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, Aaron Lohman, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Second round.
I know.
Second or third?
This is the only other time I was on here was when I was with you with John.
Oh, I miss Panetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
We had a good little run. I told him he's got to come through and chop it up and just hang out and talk and, just like the good old days. He's a homeowner now. He's out doing like things.
I know, real stuff.
Yeah, he's talking to his microphone at Bev's now. I see him. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, yo, dog, I'll give John free game. I said, yo, dog, lower that gain, bro. You're clipping the mic with your deep ass voice. And he goes, thank you, brother.
Yeah. People ask me when I was on that podcast, like, is that his real voice? I'm like, yeah, no, that's how he sounds.
That's exactly how he sounds. Yeah. I feel like I've asked him too, and he's told me all the time. I mean, every single time he's around me, he's always had the same voice. So it's not like he's ever broken character, and I've been like, yeah, nah. And I feel like that would be way too much on a voice box to keep something like that up. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine trying to talk like that all the time. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of topics, man. We got a lot of things to cover. I'm starting with like a welcome to the show now. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional and not as just like, yeah, fuck it, we'll just cut the mics on and start ripping, even though that's what we did anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, that's one of the things that like it makes your show so different than a lot of others is that you just start talking right away, and it's just such this natural rapport that that I enjoy. So
I appreciate that. Well, listen, generally, I have people come through that I want to talk to. So this would have been a phone call with us, like there's no difference of it just happens to be cameras and microphones in front of us versus like where I could talk to you on the phone for an hour.
Right.
I mean, I've done many times I've done phone calls with Jamal. We've been talking for like 2 hours.
I can imagine. Yeah.
1.5, 2 hours. And I look at the phone. I'm just like, bro, go. I'm taking up your time, bro. And he's like, nah, man, I love talking to you. And I'm just like, this could have been a podcast, the shit that we talked about. And that's just what it's supposed to be, man. I don't know. People take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm trying to do a little bit less. Like even when I fucked my thumb up last night, I normally... Young Nick would have raged. I would have been so mad. It would have ruined my night. I literally just like grabbed my thumb. Kenji got up and looked at me and I just went, oh, well, that sucked. I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Am I getting mad? Like, fuck it. Like, I got to start, I'm trying to take life less seriously. I'm trying to just enjoy and just chill and be a lot more relaxed about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the amount of times I've gotten choked out at Sarah's now. Maybe it's like, it's formed some type of chemical bond in my brain to just relax.
It has, honestly. Like, people don't realize that what happens is when we get stressed, if we're not used to that reaction that our body goes through chemically, we don't know how to control it. So that's why going to jiu-jitsu or training any type of way, if you learn how to manage that fight or flight response system, which is what kicks in and what you're doing when you work out under a controlled environment, you'll be much less stressed out in regular life. And that's what I teach people now, not only with the police department, but every day in everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you guys go through a lot of stressful situations. I mean, just even small interactions can turn into something that's super stressful where if someone's not used to that, I don't know if that's because I see a lot of the older cops are just like, I don't give a fuck. Like they just have that I don't give a fuck face on all the time because they've just been through it all and nothing phases them anymore unless it's like something crazy.
Right.
But that seems to be like that situation. I mean, it was like the first time that I had someone take my back at jiu-jitsu. I've said this a bunch of times on episodes. That first time someone wraps their arm around your neck. Now, I've gotten into little tussles here and there, like when I was younger. It's been like 10 years since I've gotten into like an actual fight. But, I mean, I've never grappled somebody like that. So I've never had somebody like, oh, no, we're going to choke the air out of you. Like, it's over for you if you don't get out of this.
Yeah.
So when you have that first wrap around your neck and you're just like, oh, whoa, and you're like reaching for their elbow and they're like, no, we're sinking this in even tighter. And I'm like, okay. But it's cool because that's all you got to do. Let me just tap and they let go. And you go, oh, okay. So then the second time isn't as bad. The third time, and now I actually, if somebody starts sinking it in and they stop, no, keep going. Yeah. I got to figure out how to get the fuck out of this. Keep going. Don't stop. So it's like, it's just a crazy experience when you start seeing how these things affect you in regular day life. I've definitely become more chill. I definitely have to work on my road rage a little bit because
me too. That's
I get very irritated.
People like, my wife is always like, yo, you're like Buddha in the real world, but the second you get behind the wheel of a car, you turn into a maniac. It's just, I don't know what it is about traffic and like people.
I don't like cunty behavior. That's what dictates it for me when someone's doing 20 in the fast lane. It's like, dog, come on, man.
Do you know what it's really about? Honestly, I've really tried to dissect this. It's like, it's selfishness. You really realize how selfish a person is when they're behind the wheel of a car, when they think they're alone and they don't realize that the actions that they're taking behind that wheel of a car, how it affects everybody else around them, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like NPC behavior too. Yep. It's like they're the only ones that exist in the planet. They have no idea anybody else exists in this planet. You're like, dude, you can't feel that. You can't honestly be looking around and just thinking that you're the center of the universe right this second. It's insane. Like, get the fuck out of the way. Just go do something else. Open your maps on the side of the road instead of like in the middle of the road. Like I've seen people do fucking crossword puzzles. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And listen, I'm no saint, man. I'm definitely not guilt-free when it comes to like texting and driving, distraction-free driving. I'm bad, especially when I had the S5. The S5 was stick, and I used to be like, so I need to focus on my shifts and my clutching in and this and that. After like a year and a half, bro, I was driving with my fucking knees. I was clutching in. I was still texting and driving on the side. I was like, oh my God. It was like I could have been deep frying shit on the seat next to me. But it's you have to like bring yourself back and just be like, yo, I gotta focus. I gotta just chill. And that was the point of like CarPlay, you'd hope. But everyone I wound up using my phone anyway.
Yeah, and imagine the stress level when you're trying to shift and you're trying to be on the phone and text at the same time and also trying to drive. Like, your stress level is so much higher than if you're just like doing one thing at a time.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why this car has been like a blessing. Yeah. It's like I just got to hit the accelerator and that's it. That's all I have to do. I do miss driving stick though, and I think everybody should learn how to drive stick.
Yeah.
Because it would create better drivers because you have to be able to actually operate the motor vehicle instead of push the D button, push the P button. That's it. That's all I gotta do.
Yeah.
And the car just moves when you hit your gas. I think things have become technologically a little bit too easy for us, and in turn have like reset our monkey brains.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, they've made us actually fucking lazier and stupider in a lot of ways.
Oh, for sure.
We talked about it the first time that you came down, but I did want to just like recap the original weight loss journey.
Sure.
I know you had brought me some gifts, which I really appreciate. I know you came out with a journal recently, which is amazing, and we're going to talk about that. And then you have a gratitude book and starting over how I learned to stop being an asshole and lost 175 pounds in the process. No small feat. That's amazing. I mean, that is, some people can't even lose 20 pounds in their life. So to be able to lose 50, 100, 150, and then add more on top of that, that's quite the challenge and quite the feat. So, I've always been a supporter, and I think that's your journey's been amazing.
I wrote you a little thing in there, man.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro. You're the fucking man. I love you. Yeah, you're the man. I'm going to read that off camera. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to dive into these as well. But you described your first time on the podcast. You described a dream that you had. I just want to get into, before you had the dream that kind of changed your thought process and mentality. What was life like for you? What did you feel? What was it like every day? Was it just the same thing? Take me through.
Mentally or physically? I mean, I'll give you the both.
Both, please.
Up until that point where I decided I was going to change and make a change for the better, my whole life up until that point, like I suffered trauma when I was a kid. I was abused by my stepfather, sorry. And, I never really dealt with it. And a lot of people, they never deal with it. And they just cope with it with something else. And at that point, when I became a cop, I was coping with it through work. I was addicted to work. So all I did was work constantly, nonstop, until eventually came a point where I got in trouble at work. And now my whole identity was wrapped up in what I did for a living. Now, when that was cut short, I had this not realization really. I became super depressed. I was over 425 pounds. I was miserable. I was out of shape. I was waking up exhausted every single day. And then it cut short. And now I got to the point where I was so depressed that I was going to kill myself because I could not imagine what it would be like to not be a cop and to not have a shield and to not have a gun anymore, that I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was so wrapped up, and so many of us get so wrapped up in whatever we do for a living, being our identity, that happens a lot. And I just had this realization that, all right, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take the shotgun out of my closet. I'm going to blow my brains out. And I just had this last minute realization that that's not something that I want to do. I don't want to die in this moment. I just want to get better. I want the pain to end. And how am I going to do that? I'm just going to take one step at a time. Every decision that I make from now on, is this decision going to make me better or is it going to make me worse? And then I just went from there. And then right almost at the same time, I had that same nightmare, maybe because it was something that I was always thinking about on my mind, about dying at work. The nightmare that I had, I got thrown off of a building by a criminal, and I had to watch my daughter. My son wasn't born yet. I had to watch my daughter grow up without me. And then I woke up the very next day. How do I take that next step to make myself better? And I started with my mind. I started a police charity at first to let cops know that like people still cared about them. And then I don't do that anymore because of other reasons. The same reason I started is the same reason I stopped, because it just got too much, too stressful. And then I started fixing my mind. I also ran into somebody. This is one of the craziest things that somebody can go through, and you have to pay attention as a person to people around you. So when I went back to a command after getting in trouble at work, I ran into somebody who was exactly like I was. It was a mirror reflection of me. They were completely miserable. They were an asshole. And I was like, I had this realization like, oh my God, is that me? Am I acting like that? This is not the person I want to be. And then
it was like an out of body without an out of body experience, just seeing somebody else.
It was just so crazy. And I just realized that I couldn't be that person. And I just started riding a bike to and from work, to and from the train station and work. And then I slowly started building on that, creating better habits every day.
Let me go back to the suicidal thoughts, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Do you find that there's a lot of officers that go through that mental angst?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that separates us from a lot of other people, obviously, is the post-traumatic stress. I think everybody, this is law enforcement, non-law enforcement, everybody who's listening, everybody has some type of post-traumatic stress and they don't even realize that they have it. It's normal to have post-traumatic stress, okay, for anybody who goes through anything. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Let's say you were in a car accident, or let's say something sad happened or whatever. When you pass that intersection where you had that car accident, you're going to think about that car accident. That's what post-traumatic stress is. And it happens to everybody. Even if something bad happened in your life, whatever it is, everybody has that initial reaction. But when it becomes a disorder is when you can't stop thinking about it. You're constantly ruminating on that thing, and it's affecting your day-to-day life. So a lot of cops have both of those things. And unless they learn how to deal with that, or whether it be through therapy or some other type of things, it's always going to be on the forefront. So we have those stress, the traumatic incidents that we see. But what really separates us as far as suicide is concerned is, we have the access to something that can end it immediately. And that's why it's a large reason why the numbers are at what they are for us.
Do you know the numbers by chance? You don't need to be accurate.
All I do know
Roughly.
All I do know about suicide is more officers die from suicide than they do from line of duty. Yeah. And it's like an astounding number.
And it's hard to hear because I have a lot of friends that are officers. I have family members that are officers, and I hear about it, man. Mm-hmm. My boy, Brandon Stahl, he came on a long time ago. He's actually in town. We're going to do another episode before he leaves.
Nice.
He's an ex-Army sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
And he told a very eerily similar story, a little different. Mm-hmm. It was alcohol induced, and he woke up with his gun loaded and ready to go in his hand and in his kitchen floor, and he was like in shock that he was like ready to just do it, and it was like he was driving but he couldn't control it.
Yeah, believe it or not, alcohol is one of like the biggest factors, and I know you've been sober for 8 months, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And alcohol is one of the biggest factors because it's against our nature as humans to want to kill ourselves. It's something that we can't do, it's very difficult for us to do. So when we add in that alcohol, that's a catalyst. That usually, if an officer or somebody develops an alcohol problem as part of a coping mechanism, that suicide is not too far off because that's like literally pushing their foot down on the gas pedal. And
ironically, maybe unironically, honestly, a lot of the cops that I'm friends with, I wouldn't say that they're alcoholics, but they drink a lot. Like they booze.
Bro,
and it's tough to watch because it's like, what are you pushing down? Mm-hmm. Because that's what it feels like when you start watching from the outside in. You look and you're just like, all right, yeah, like, okay, you want to have one or two. I have no judgment since I've been stopping alcohol. Like, I really don't. Mm-hmm. The judgment that I have for people is the people that want to get better, the people that want to do better, and they just keep leaning into the vices and the same behavior that they've been doing. And it's like, bro, nothing's going to change, man. Like, that's unless you change. Like, you have to take the first step. Listen, would it be easy for me to just say, it's been 8 months, that's good, it's New Year's coming up, let me go have a couple of drinks. Oh, it was Thanksgiving, it's going to be Christmas next week. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have a couple of drinks at the dinner with my family. We're having it in Huntington Village. Like, I could just walk back home. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. It doesn't serve me. I'm just right. I'm at a point in my life where I see the destructive behavior of others, and I watch the drunk driving, the fights. I live next to a bar. Mm. I hear it all night. Every now and then I walk outside. I'm like, yo, guys, take it somewhere else, bro. Anywhere else. Get the fuck off my lawn. Like, I'm not playing with you guys. Yeah. You're arguing about nothing. It's 3 a.m. Go somewhere else. And that's the point. It's like you're arguing about nothing. No, your brain is just in this spiral of just like over amplified emotions, and then you come down. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're high, and then you come down, and now you're just angry and miserable and this and that. It's a catalyst for fucking horrible behaviors.
I think the reason I never really got into drinking, even as a cop, I mean, listen, I'll have a couple beers every once in a while,
and that's fine. I want to emphasize that. I don't mean to cut you off. I want to emphasize that it's cool if you drink and like not. I know you're not. I know you don't think I'm preaching to you.
No, hell no.
I'm talking to the listeners. Like, yo, it's cool if you drink and you and that's what you want, or that's you enjoy that. By all means, like be good, but just understand the risks, health-wise, mentality, and mental issues that come with it along as a byproduct of consumption, and then just understand that it really doesn't serve you. And the more you listen to doctors, and the more you listen to like Huberman, I know he's the buzzword now. It's like he's just made information like that super accessible to everybody else, you start looking at the carcinogens and all this other stuff that happens, the shrinking of the pituitary and your brain having actual atrophy and this and that. It's like, yo, do I really want, I work so hard in the gym. I work so hard to eat organic. I spend a lot of fucking money, $160 on 2 bags of groceries.
Crazy, man.
I eat a lot of really good shit. I'm just going to fuck it up because I wanted to relax and have a drink.
Right.
I just can't do
It
it.
doesn't even really relax you because, it might relax you in that moment. It might help you fall asleep, but it actually fucks up your sleep cycle. You don't get as restful sleep. People don't realize that. And when it comes to law enforcement, the reason that we drink so much is because of the internal culture inside law enforcement. We're the biggest. First of all, we pretend like we're victims a lot, and we enable each other. We enable the shit out of each other. So the culture is like, yeah, whatever, it's no big deal. It's okay. We have a stressful job. We do also, listen, a lot of people have stressful jobs. Okay. A lot of people manage not to let it get out of control. But the thing that we do that other cultures don't do is we constantly enable each other to participate in this bad behavior because of whether it be trauma or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we steer away from actually doing things that are helpful for us when they're actually hurtful. There's this meme that I always do during my presentations when I teach resilience to cops is, it's the grow up Peter Pan one. It's like when cops are told to do yoga instead of getting blackout drunk, and it says grow up Peter Pan. And that's exactly what the police and law enforcement, first responder culture in general, is like when it comes to self-care.
You would say it's non-existent, or it's very low on the totem pole?
It's very low. Like there's certain pockets. Obviously, I'm preaching it all the time. I'm trying to teach it all the time. There's a bunch of us that do it. They do exercise self-care, and they try to spread that word. But amongst the negative, toxic coping mechanism culture, it's so high. And because, right, most of the people that when it comes to normal people, what normal people in society would consider signs of anxiety, suicide, and depression, cops do every single day, whether it be being completely angry all the time and isolating themselves and be like, nobody knows what it's like to be me, I'm a cop, or drinking a lot, cheating on our spouses, all the reckless behavior, right? Cops will be reckless and do reckless behavior. They see that as completely normal because it's normalized by our culture. But if you saw that in somebody else outside that wasn't in law enforcement or wasn't a first responder, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy needs help. This guy needs therapy. But we just enable each other so much into doing these bad things that it just becomes this constant repetitive cycle.
Alcohol is big in the Army. Mm-hmm. There's a huge alcohol culture in the Army that I've heard from numerous people that I know that served. Mm-hmm. I can't even say it's the Army in general. I just think most branches. I mean, Daquan, when he was on, he was talking about them going out in South Korea and drinking soju and all the crazy shit and this and that. I believe Daquan gave up booze as well. I think from when he was on the podcast, he had said that he gave up booze. And listen, anybody that gives up anything that just doesn't serve them and doesn't do well for them and helps them to create a better environment for themselves. Doesn't matter what that thing is. It could be fucking sugar. It could be I don't want to go and this route from work on my way home because I know I'm going to stop at this cookie shop. It takes a lot of fucking balls, man. It's tough. It's tough to just make the change and kind of segueing into you with waking up from that dream and waking up from being killed in the line of duty and your daughter wasn't going to have you. You decided in that moment going forward, I wasn't going to allow this to be a destiny thing. Yeah. Do you think it was more so just like divine intervention? Do you think it was just it was overdue? What do you?
Oh, it was definitely overdue. So I worked in every unit in the NYPD that no longer exists anymore, like the anti-crime units, those plainclothes units. I was in the gang squad for a long time, and there were times where we would execute our own search warrants, 4th floor walk up in Harlem somewhere, kick in the door. By the time I got to the 4th floor, I'd be completely out of breath. Good thing nothing happened because I couldn't even tell you what happened because I was just so out of breath and so out of it. But did I fix it then? Did I have scares? Yeah. But did I fix it? No. I would go out, celebrate. Hey, good job, guys. Let's go have pizza and ice cream. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized that it affected my personal life. And I think that as long people cope with work and they use work is great. Everything is great. It hasn't affected my work life. But as soon as you have that realization that what you're doing is affecting your personal life, I think that's the real wake-up call. And that's the wake-up call that I had.
Yeah. Were you always heavy?
I went through cycles. So my, like I said, I've avoided alcohol. I didn't say this before, but my dad was an alcoholic. And then I was a bouncer for a long time before I was a cop. So I saw how alcohol affected people's behavior. And it's crazy. Like, you really want to get a doctorate in human behavior, become a bouncer, be sober, and watch how people interact with each other. It is, especially men and women, it is like, it's just crazy. But my mother was always overweight. My grandmother was always overweight. Everybody in my family was overweight. So me growing up, I thought it was normal. So I went through cycles. When I was in high school, I lost a lot of weight. I actually played soccer in high school. And then I immediately, going through the abuse that I went through, I coped with food. So food became my best friend, became my coping mechanism. And then I blew up to where I was really, really heavy. And then it wasn't until I decided that I was going to be a cop that I was going to lose weight by any means necessary, which was a huge mistake. So I literally starved myself, and I just did cardio, so much cardio every single day that I dropped 100 pounds in 7 months.
Damn.
Before I went to the academy. But the side effect of that was I had zero energy. I couldn't stay awake, man. And, and then obviously I went back up in weight after that, after being on the force for a long time.
How long did it take to kind of get to your heaviest point at that point?
It was about, I want to say, like maybe 9 years or so. But
so it wasn't just like a year and it was a crash right back in. It was a slow. We're putting it on pack by pack.
But I will say this: it was because I did what most people do: is they set a short-term goal. Right. So my short-term goal was make it through the police academy, and that's it. And then I abandoned my physical fitness. I abandoned all of it because I reached that one short-term goal. And people do that. Oh, I got a wedding. I want to lose 50 pounds for the wedding. Then after the wedding, they put that shit right back on. And that's exactly what happened. I split my first pair of uniform pants, I want to say 2 months after the academy, because I had already gained back so much weight.
And how did that feel? Like, what did you, in the moment, was it a funny thing or was it something?
I was embarrassed, completely embarrassed, but I had to like play it off like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, whatever. Just went out and got a bigger pair of pants. It sucked.
Yeah. I tell people, I don't think I've ever told people on the podcast, but it's a funny thing. It was right before I got my blood test where they said, you're going to be pre-diabetic if you continue down this route. Mm-hmm. And I was about 270. I was, heavy. I'm 5'8", man. I was in 10th grade. Like, I was big. And but I held it well. Like my body's always held weight well. So it's like
the photos, smiling.
It's weird. Like I held it well for what it was. Like, it didn't look 270. I looked fat and out of shape, but I didn't look 270. Almost 300. It's crazy to think that, like 40 pounds off of 300. That's crazy, man. And it sneaks up on you so quick if you just don't, because you're sedentary. You're not doing anything. You're just eating. You don't have any type of stability. You don't have any type of routine to break the cycle. So anyway, I'm driving home from my aunt's house with my mom. I'm in the passenger seat. And we're coming up to this one spot on Round Swamp Road that has like dips. And it goes like, and I just remember my titties jiggling. And I went, whoa, something's got to change. That was as stupid as that is, before I even got the blood test results, because that was like a couple of weeks later that I went in for blood work and they said, yo, it's time, dude. That was like the first mental checkbox where I just went, yeah, my boobs are bouncing like a woman's. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, that's a good realization, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget that feeling of just like the bounce, and I went, like, oh, I felt like George Costanza looking at his father. I was like, was he a big chested man? Like, what is that? Yeah. It was just, it's crazy, man. And I was a skinny little kid, man. I was skinny, I was in shape, and this and that. And it was the divorce. Not so much the divorce, the stress of them splitting up.
What people don't realize is that, you were so mature as a little kid, and so was I, because we had to be an adult at that time. And we were robbed of our childhood, dude, essentially.
I felt bad to you. I used to have to rat on my dad. Yeah. Like, I used to have to rat on my dad because as his MS got worse, he would use his hands to pick his legs up to break in the car.
Oh, no.
Like that, I used to tell my mom, like, I think something's right. I think something's wrong. I was little. I didn't realize that his disease was progressing horribly. I saw Dad always had MS. So to me, it was just like, oh, he's having an episode, or he just doesn't feel well, whatever it might be. And it was like, no. Like, he's getting bad and he really shouldn't be driving anymore. But it's crazy to think about traumas, and it's crazy to think about things that you've gone through in your life. Like, my relationship with my father has always been a very shaky one. My dad, my mom tells me that he was an alcoholic. I mean, did he put him back when I was a kid and like beat me? No, by any stretch of the measure, he wasn't like that. But his family was an abusive family to me, and he just allowed it. He just kind of like threw his hands up type of situation. And then I don't know if you heard the story I told about me having the interaction with my dad because he was like trying to throw shade at my mom recently and this and that. I haven't spoken to him since. And truth be told, I blocked him on everything, and I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm good on it. I need to cut shit like that out like a cancer, because every time I call, if there's like a comment, if there's like some type of a nudge or this and that, I can't be around it anymore. I'm 32 years old. Like, we've always been like friends, not father and son.
Exact same here, man.
It's cool, bro. Like, just you tried, I guess. Just do your thing, dude. You know, whatever. And some people may understand it. Like, you definitely get it. Other people may look at that and just go, wow, like, that's supposed to be your father. It's like, well, you didn't have the interactions that I've had with my dad. Like, your interaction was good with your dad. I have friends that tell me they wish that their relationship with their mother was like me and Karen, my mom.
Oh, I do too, man.
And listen, I appreciate when people say that. Like, I was very fortunate, because if my mom was fucked too, like, if that...
So that's the situation that I'm in, man. Me and my dad we have a relationship like that. So essentially when I was 7, he called me up and was like, well, he called my mom, and my mom was like yelling at him on the phone. Well, you tell him. I pick up the phone, and he's like, yeah, listen, I just want to let you know I don't want to see you anymore. I hung up the phone. Yeah, no, it's fucked up, bro. So like, I still remember that feeling to this day. And then years later, I was like, he was always a volunteer fire chief in my town. So I knew where to find if I wanted to. So one day I'm walking home from middle school, and I went to Fireman's Park, where they practice like the fire department drills. And I just walked up there, and everybody knew who I was, because my dad was like, not only was he the fire chief in the town, he was the mailman in the town. He was very whatever. So I went up to some guy that I knew, and I'm like, yo, where's my dad? And he just looked at me like weird. Like, he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, my dad hasn't seen me in like years. And my dad was lying at the time to all these people, like saying that he saw, it was fucked up. So I tried to like rekindle this relationship, and it was almost like forced. And then like from that point on, we became like, I don't even want to say friends, because not even friends, but
acquaintances.
Just like acquaintances. And like, like we would go travel to see my grandparents together down south and like do things together, but it was never like a real parental relationship. And then my mother, she let people who abused me and my brother into our life consistently. So like I had a bad relationship with her. And then even her own relationship with me is completely narcissistic, like abusive, like trying to take advantage, always like trying to like run like shit over on me. And it's like really fucked up. Like I have to distance myself between both my parents. And so I am jealous of you.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll be real with you. You can borrow Karen anytime you want. Karen's good people.
She was awesome on the podcast too.
She always tells everybody
stories, man.
She always tells everybody. She's like, any friend of Nikki, anything. She used to say, I'd be on the phone with Max Charles I'd be shooting Max, and I'd be on the phone with her. She'd call me. I'd be like, hey, Mom, with Max. She goes, oh, my other son. Like, he'd be like, hey, Mama Rizos. Like, like this big ass dude just fucking saying hi to my mom. Like, I was very fortunate that my mom was always like that. And that my grandfather, her father, was always the bright energy, happy, this and that, because I'm not always like that. A lot of people think that I'm always like this over the top, excited energy, but like, I'm not going to say I put it on, but I like to vibrate higher when I'm around other people, because nobody wants to hear my sob stories. Nobody wants to hear bullshit from me. They got their own shit to deal with. It's like, I'm always going to try to be in a good mood, especially when I'm around other people, even if I'm not in the best mood. Just like it's something that we have to practice. Happiness is a personal responsibility. I forget who I heard that from.
I don't know. I have a shirt that says "Happiness is an inside job."
Yeah, happiness is a personal responsibility. Like, it's your personal responsibility to be happy. And then when you're a father, which you could speak on even more. Obviously, Kenji's my kid. Like, that's all I got to get a text back before I have any kids. Everybody loves that. Whenever I say that, everybody loves that.
Dude, I feel bad me and my wife talk about it all the time. Like, what do people even do now? And I see the culture of dating and like women, and it's so fucked.
I'll stay alone. I will. I
agree with you 100%.
I will happily stay alone.
It's just so fucked.
Yeah. You listen, man, it's kind of like weird. Whenever I put myself out there and I'm really excited to hang out with somebody or like go out to dinner or this and that. Perfect example. It's a year ago. Was a girl I was very excited to go out with. We had a lot of common interests through the gym. She was super cool, worked in the hospital scene, like good job, like responsible, it seemed like, this and that, whatever. And I said, yo, I want to take you out. I want to go have a good time. She was more than willing. She's like, I would love to. Great. Excited. I don't get excited. I talk to people all fucking day. I get so tired of talking to people that it's like when I get excited to converse with somebody and like actually potentially build something, it's an exciting moment for me because it's so rare. So we go out to dinner. I pick her up. I drive out to Queens. We go to Chinese hot pot, like authentic Chinese hot pot. I've never been. She'd never been. So I said, let's have fun. We go out there. Good conversation the entire dinner, talking about how our parents are immigrants and they instill hard work and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is great. Drop her off. Kisses me on the cheek. Cool, whatever. And then she's like, hey, I'll text you. Beautiful. Don't hear from her that night. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I had 45-minute drive home. I was like, okay, whatever, no big deal. I get home, I go to sleep, I wake up the next morning, no text. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to text her. So like, this is balls in your court now, sweetheart. Midday, she hits me up. I'm so sorry. I passed out last night. I had to get up super early for work, blah, 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 this and that. She's like, I want to thank you so much. I had so much fun last night, this and that. Sends me a heart and a smiley face. I was like, beautiful. I said, I had a great time. I said, listen, I have to go to work. Oh, no, this is before Thanksgiving. So I just said, I hope you have a great time. Then Thanksgiving comes through. She said she was going home. I didn't want to bother her. Like, she's going home with her family. Do your thing, whatever. 2 days later, I hit her up. I said, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, I got to be in Miami for work this weekend. Any chance you want to go, I don't know, planetarium, or you want to go somewhere? I haven't been in years. I'd love to go. No answer. I was like, okay. Hit her up the following week. Hey, I just wanted to see if you want to get together again, this and that. No answer. Okay. I gave it another week. I unfollowed her. She unfollowed me. Okay. 2 months later, I'm just like, maybe she got back with an ex. She went home. She saw him. They started hanging out. Whatever. Okay, cool. I look at her page. She's doing OnlyFans. I'm like, okay, dude, we're good on that. Don't worry about it. How would your immigrant parents feel about you spreading your asshole on camera for $4 a month? I don't know. I feel like they probably wouldn't like that, but I could be wrong.
Dude,
I'm second generation. Maybe the new generation that don't care.
Oh, the evolution of that is just crazy. But what's even crazier than OnlyFans to me is this new thing. And I've wanted to make a video on this for so long. I just haven't done it yet. I'm sure you've seen it. It's fucking women that aren't even real, dude. It's AI.
Yeah, the AI generated.
AI videos.
Influencers.
AI.
Yeah.
Bro, and they write books and shit under some fake name, and people are buying. You see the comments like, yeah, baby, you look great. Like, dude, this person's not even a real person.
Doesn't matter.
What are you talking about?
It's creepy. People, listen, man, we have different brains. So like people that are going to subscribe to a random girl on OnlyFans, even a girl in their town, let's say like there's a girl at their local gym that does OnlyFans, a dude that's going to sit there and pay her $5 a month to see her in her underwear, which is no different than her normal content on Instagram. Let's be completely clear.
Yeah.
And then to like be naked and play with, like, it's weird. It's just creepy.
It's weird and super creepy. And what's fucked up, like this exists, OnlyFans exists and this content exists because dudes on the internet are fucking creepy as fuck.
They're funding it. They're the
losers.
Ones.
They're losers.
They're the ones funding it.
And that's why I always get pissed off. Like when OnlyFans, like when we talk about OnlyFans or whatever, I'm not nearly, listen, the girls, whatever. I'm not nearly as pissed at them as I am for
the guys
who are supporting this shit. Like, dude, how much of a loser are you?
It's bitch shit. That's what it is. It's bitch shit to be paying a girl that's just like even the dudes that are just like hit girls up. They're like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 a month as your sugar daddy. Like that, bro. Go to the gym. Go eat a fucking steak because you're actually insane. Yeah, no. You're gonna pay this random girl just because you have so much money, just to fuck you. Here's your allowance of $10,000. But then it breeds this into a lot of these girls' minds that they can get away with shit like this.
Dude,
and because they see that 1% of girls that this actually happens. Actually, I would argue it's more. To be honest with you, I wouldn't even say it's 1%. I would say, because women see all of these other girls getting this type of attention, OnlyFans, sugar daddy behavior, this and that, they get this twisted, distorted viewpoint in their minds that this is normal, and it's not. That is so bizarre. A normal ass dude is not going to do that. Me, I hold myself to a different standard. I'm not going to sit here and pander and give you money when you put your fucking Cash App or Venmo in your bio. What are you doing?
It blows my mind, dude. My wife one day asked me, like, why do people put Cash Apps in their bio? And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Because they're fucking mooches. Let's call a spade a spade. It's because you're a fucking crazy, mooch. Man. It's because you have no stand. You just believe that you should just be paid for existing on this planet. It's weird. You're a weirdo. Go do some self-development. Buy Aaron's book, okay? Go buy Aaron's books. Do some journaling, some self-reflection, because you fucking need it along with some church.
Yo, because listen, that shit ain't. Listen, and for everybody out there who's doing anything like this, listen, it's not going to last forever. but the implications of whatever behavior that you're engaging in at this moment in time that you think feels good and is working for you will last forever, and you have to really, really take that into account.
Yes, and those things are going to live on the internet forever.
Right.
I like these bullshit little captions that they post, like I do not subscribe to allow anybody OnlyFans or anything like that, like to use my content. It's like, oh, you really think this stupid half-assed legal, not even jargon is going to stop this mega corporation from taking your information, your photos, and maybe putting it on Pornhub one day or this and that? Yo, you know what you're doing. You're not giving cooking tutorials on OnlyFans. Like, we know what you're doing. You know, you may have cooking utensils in the bedroom with you, but you're not making a cake, all right? You're doing other things with them.
Yeah, and not only that, like, listen, every phone has a screen record button and a screenshot button. So anybody who does it is just going to take that shit and throw it on Reddit or throw it wherever they throw these things. And then it's just, you know, it's going to be there forever, you know? And like, my daughter is 10. And I have to have this conversation with her. Like, she doesn't have access to the internet at all. She doesn't even have a phone.
Wow.
She doesn't have, well, listen, don't get me wrong. She watches videos on YouTube. I'm not saying that, but she does not have a YouTube account. I monitor her when she's on watching YouTube or whatever it is, but she does not have any social media accounts. She does not have her own phone. She has an Apple Watch that she is able to call me and my wife and her grandparents with.
It's actually genius to just do the watch instead of an actual phone.
Mm-hmm. And the watch has its own phone line hooked up. So this way, like, if she gets out of school, she can call, whatever. I have to have this conversation with her because I know how quickly it happens. And I see her friends with phones. Her friends have Snapchat. Her friends have TikTok, all that stuff. They're doing dances. I was at a birthday party the other day at United Skates. And these young girls, 10, 11 years old, are doing dances on TikTok. And I'm like,
it's a pedophile's playground.
Bro,
it's so
God.
Creepy.
And I have to remind her, like, listen, these things that are on the internet will last forever. Okay, you have to be conscious in making this. And she's very smart. She understands it.
Well, because you talk to her like an intelligent human being. You don't talk to her like, you know, hey, sweetie, don't do that. No. You're just like, hey, let's talk about some real shit real quick.
And like, I don't try to rattle her, you know, scare her. I mean, I do, but not in a way. Even when I talk to her about drugs, like, especially nowadays, I gotta be like, yo, listen, you do drugs one time, you can die. And she just like looks at me and I'm like, yeah, drugs didn't have anything in it. And it's 100% true. Like, back, 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't true. But now anything can have fentanyl in it, dude, and you're fucking dead. One time, you're dead. That's it. It's over for you. Just because you want to do it one time.
Yeah.
Bro, that's honestly, I've always been, it's crazy as I get pushed back in my own like law enforcement community because I've always been pro the legalization of weed. And that's only because it's government controlled and you actually know somewhat what you're getting from these people as opposed to getting some shit off the street. And we know the guys who own strength stores work at Bev's and they're fucking good dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Ricky, and then there's like four...
the high school Ricky. Ricky was one of my good friends back in the day.
And then there's like 4 or 5 like Indian guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All good people. They own the gas station right next to Bev's too. Yeah. Which is the best gas station on earth.
Yeah, thank God they upgraded that because it was a piece of shit before. I hated getting gas there, and now it looks like... I haven't been to Bev's. I went for the photo shoot, but like it looks like a nice little destination. Go in, get a drink, go out, get
They sell supplements in there, bro.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's just, I think it's just the continual downfall of society is really what I'm trying to like say. It's just these little implementations, these little things that they're allowing, these, what really bothers me is the gambling. Bothers me to no extent, and then we'll get back to the police force. We'll get back to no. I'm just saying, in general, we could fucking talk for hours. Like, I love just chopping it up with you because not only are we like-minded individuals, we see things in a different light than a lot of people see. Most of my friends, Tyler doesn't gamble. Most of my friends, actually, Tyler does gamble. What the fuck am I talking about? He has put a couple of, but like $10 parlays. Here's the issue, though. I see that as a cascading effect. I see that as you do a parlay once. Oh my God, I just made $1,000. And then you start getting that like fucking crack hit. You start, oh shit. Dude, I have friends that have gambled on horse racing in Australia at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you really got that much loot that you could just drop. You could just drop and you could just don't have to worry about anything. Like, I work hard for my fucking money. I work hard for my money. My shoots, my edits, I work very hard to make sure that I make enough money. Kenji's expensive. To live now is just expensive in general. So it's like, you guys just have hundreds a week to just blow on gambling, and then I lost $1,000, whatever. It's like, bro, that's not. I make good money. That's not small chump change.
No.
Like that's a lot of money, dude.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to just be blowing on like a bunch of grown ass men playing a sport.
No.
To me, it's ridiculous. And I want to let you go, but then what drives me nuts is gambling used to be something that was taboo.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would call your bookie in the corner because it was illegal and you didn't want to be looked at as a degenerate. Nowadays, every other fucking ad is a gambling ad.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you could start a new MGM sports book and this and that and get $100 in free bets and this and that. But then at the end, they all go, if you have a gambling addiction, please seek help by calling this number. It's like, dude, in the same ad, did you just try to hook me into gambling and then help my addiction? It's ridiculous that they allow that.
Yep. Nothing is free. Nothing. If they're willing to give you $100 to do it, or they're willing to give you any amount of money to do something, then they're, it's definitely not, it's going to work against you. They're going to win. The house always wins.
Always wins, man. Why do you think Vegas exists?
And they trick you into thinking that you're going to win. So, like, especially like if you get that free $100 and you win off that free $100, that's it. I guarantee you, everybody I know who's done that has been hooked. And they think that it's not real. So back in the day, we used to take a break and we used to go to this gas station. And I used to watch Cops. Dude, Cops, my old sergeant, they used to go and they used to play $30 scratch-off tickets, like one after the other. Dude, every night, man. And like they'd win one. They'd win like $60 off one. And they'd be like, oh, look, I won. Like, dude, no, you didn't. You just lost $1,000 to like.
You're in the hole, bro.
Man. It is just another coping mechanism where, especially with sports gambling is so bad. And like even, I love the Jets, right? I love the Jets. I love football. I used to be way more into it before I started on my fitness and mental transformation. But then I realized what I was doing by getting dude, I used to go to games and like get in fights with people. I used to like argue with people over stuff when it's so stupid. You are literally fighting over something that you have absolute zero control over.
And that's scripted.
Yeah.
That's scripted. That's what it feels like.
But zero control over, and you're letting something that you can't control your life. And it's the same thing with gambling, double fold, because now you're betting on that thing that you can't control, and now you have actually something physical wrapped up in that thing that you can't control, and it will fuck you over, man.
Yeah, I've known people that have gotten married, and the husband has gambled all of the wedding money away, and I'm just like, bro, what are you doing, man? Like, it's a different brain, so I can't expect them to think the same way I think. And that was a Karen quote. That's what she's taught me since I was little. You can't expect everybody to believe and think the same way that you do. But at what point do you sit there and you go, yo, bro, like, at what point did you think this was a good idea? Is it like, is this Darwinism? Is this like, like survival of the fittest? Is this, you're just supposed to get off? Like you can't be that fucking stupid that you just gambled all the money away from a wedding that you guys are supposed to use to start your life together.
It's sad because, and this is something when we talk about mental health, right, is there's so much stigma around mental health that we look at addiction as a disease a lot. And it's not always a disease in itself. Okay, it will become eventually a disease, but what happens is people suffer from anxiety or depression or whatever it is, and they're coping with that through alcohol, through gambling, through these other things. And instead of a lot of times saying, "Oh, this person's depressed" or "This person has anxiety," there's so much a stigma around saying that we're just like, "Oh, we're going to treat the disease of that." But if you don't treat the underlying depression or anxiety that caused that gambling addiction, that caused that alcohol addiction, it's never going to get fixed, man.
Yep. Well, nobody wants to get to the root cause of things anymore. They just want Band-Aid fixes, like this Ozempic thing. They just want Band-Aid fixes. Yeah. They just want things that are just going to work, and they don't have to actually put work and effort into it. Same thing with doctors, man. Doctors are some of the laziest motherfuckers ever. When I was having some it's some mental health issues. I was having just like, I felt fucking off. I couldn't explain it recently. I just couldn't explain it. Like, I felt like there was a bubble around my head. I'm like, what is going on? All my holistic guys, yo, your iron's too high. You have to go donate. You have to go donate your blood. We've told you this for fucking years. They're like yelling at me. I just don't like needles. So like, we told you this for years. You have to go donate. I go to a doctor. She's just like, I just think you need to talk to a therapist. I'm like, without question, I need to talk to a therapist. Without question. I need to talk to, I got a lot of shit with dad and mom. I got to talk about all that. I was like, that's without question. I said, there's something going on and I don't know what it is. It almost felt like my brain was just like there was a blocker on the front of my head. Couldn't deep think, couldn't focus, I couldn't figure it out. She's just like, yeah, I just think you need to go talk to somebody, blah, 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 this and that. Okay. So a couple days later, like it was like 4 days later, I was still feeling shitty, man. I just said, you know what? What's the worst that happens? I donate and I feel the same, or I donate and I feel better. I donated. Within a week, I felt great.
It's so funny is I heard you talk about that on one of the other podcasts, and my wife has the opposite problem. So I had a whole conversation with her about it. She has low iron or had low iron. She essentially was just like losing blood. She was like hemorrhaging. Like she just had to have surgery or whatever. It's fine now, but it was at the point where she had to have like literal transfusions, blood transfusions, and I was like, it's crazy how high iron and low iron like both fuck you up, man.
Oh, yeah, it fucks you up. And the crazy thing is that a lot of people don't realize is that the hemochromatosis, which is what I have, technically, undiagnosed, but diagnosed from the people that actually know what the fuck's going on. Basically what happens is if you let it go untreated, a couple of things happen. The first thing is iron starts depositing in your brain and liver, excess iron. And then there's also been studies that have said that ALS and other diseases could be formed by stuff like that with high deposits and whatnot. You know, I don't think anybody knows, but they start seeing coincidences. And the other thing that happens is if you don't get it rectified and you drink even a little bit, which is ironic that I gave up alcohol. If you start drinking a little bit while these are getting deposited in your liver, you could get cirrhosis of the liver like that. Like super easy because it's already getting damaged from the iron in your liver.
Let me ask you, when you had the iron done, were your liver enzymes elevated too or no?
Nope.
Oh,
no.
Well, that's good.
I don't believe so. I don't know if that was on my blood work, but everything else came back perfect. I got a pretty in-depth panel. I'm going to go again soon. I'm going to go donate one more time. It took me a while to get back, like feeling good physically to train. I was really fucked up from the lack of red blood cells from a full donation. I've never donated before. I was trying to do OG like later that week. I actually couldn't, like, I was having trouble. There was like 10 minutes left in one of the classes. I couldn't catch my breath. And every time I stood up, I was getting super dizzy. I'm like, holy shit. Went, got food, this and that, felt fine. Then I was trying to roll and I was like, I can't beat these dudes off. Like I don't have the stamina right now. So it's pretty crazy how it affects you. But then after about a week and a half, I was fine. I was totally good. So now it's time to donate again soon. And I'll probably do it before the new year. But it's crazy, man, how nobody wants to treat the root cause. They just want to, whatever they
symptoms.
Yeah, whatever they believe they know, the symptoms. They just want to just look at it at face value and just be like, yeah, it's probably what you need. It's like, why don't you do an actual like genetic test on me? Why don't you check in this and check my levels for everything and just see if maybe something's off? If I'm depressed or I have anything going on with me, why don't we check for mineral imbalances prior and then talk to a therapist to help out with that side of things and then just start ticking off boxes instead of just like, you're depressed, fuck it. It's like, oh, here, take this pill. It's like, what?
It's like you're depressed. Okay, what does your life look like? Take me through the day. That should be number one. What did it take? Well, I wake up and the first thing that I do is I sit on the toilet on my phone for 45 minutes and then I go to a desk job that I absolutely hate. And then, I come home and I eat a pint of ice cream while watching murder documentaries. Well, did you do anything physical activity today? Did you go outside? Did you do anything? No.
You stare at the sun?
Well, why don't we fucking start with there? You know what I mean? Start with behaviors first and then eventually get into the other stuff. Because for me, listen, my own depression, getting physical and like actually like doing that type of stuff is huge. And there's many studies that I always, present when I present to people on that. Like it affects your mental health so much, actually doing something and having a purpose outside of what is going on. Life can get depressing if you allow it to get depressing and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the monotony of things, man. Life gets tough.
Yeah.
Life is tough for everybody. Let's just make that clear. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care whatever. Life is tough for everybody. Everybody's living in angst. I talk to men a lot, men especially. Men are just living in a quiet desperation.
I love that quote, man.
Bedros Koulian talks about it all the time. Like, I've been listening to a lot. I've been listening to a lot of Bedros for a while now, but I also started listening to Andy again, Frisella.
I haven't in a long time.
I'll tell you why. I stopped listening to Andy for a little while because just keeping it 100% real, because he does, or at least that's what he says he does. I found that some of the stuff that he was talking about once he had guests come on that supported opposite, positions of what he's been preaching, that realness went away. That no. If they were here right now, I'd fucking tell them this and that. And then when they were there, they didn't really act like that anymore. So I kind of got turned off by that. But then as of late, his stuff has been good again. He's been talking a lot about like what's going on in the world, this and that. And it's all stuff I know already.
Like legitimately, I love Andy. Like I could DM Andy right now and he would hit me back. Like that. Like we have that type of relationship. I just don't. It's just, I listened to his podcast at first when it was like very like business minded or whatever. I know what goes out in the world, in the political world. I just choose not to put that extra shit in my brain, and it's nothing against him personally. I just don't, I won't listen to any podcast like that.
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough when it's all political stuff now because we know, it doesn't matter what.
I love him. He is a great human being and a great person and cares about people so much, and he really is like, who he claims to be in that regards, like just like really gives a shit about people.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him. I would definitely be down to. I think we would get along very well.
He's cool as shit, man.
But yeah, I stopped for a little while listening, and I've been listening again. But listen, it's very political heavy. It is. It's very political heavy now, and I got rid of, like you said, a lot of those podcasts. I stopped listening to Nick DiPaolo. I had to stop listening to Dan Bongino, all these other guys. It just, I don't care what side you're on. I like being informed. I find that mainstream news is going to, Fox, CNN, they're all going to spew whatever they want to spew based on their side. The podcasts are a little bit more free-flowing. You do get a little bit more. But, listen, where people stand on what they believe in. And it's just like you start getting it all day. It's like, all right, I get it. Like, the president's an asshole. This person, like, I get it, bro. Like, after a while, it's just like, we keep talking, but nothing gets done. And at that point, it's just like, I can't talk about it anymore.
You have to separate. If you're going to listen to anything political or hear anybody out politically, you have to, and this comes with influencers too, man. Like I've seen so many fitness influencers in the fitness industry. They're a terrible fitness influencer, but you know what really gets engagement on Instagram? Being angry and talking about politics and how angry it gets you. And then they make a ton of money off of that, and then that becomes their whole personality. Now you have to wonder, and I say this about people who actually work on CNN, actually work on Fox News. I guarantee you got these people behind closed doors. They don't even believe half the shit that they're saying.
No, they don't.
But they're just saying it to be famous, to get money. Dude, it's so.
And they laugh. They laugh when you go up in arms and outroar and screaming and this and that during. Some of the rioting and all that shit that was going on, like literally all the protests and whatnot. I had posted, just to give everybody a heads up, the algorithms feed off of this behavior. I'm just letting you know. I said, I just want you to understand, doesn't matter what side you believe in, doesn't matter. I said, just the more angry you post, the more you're going to get the opposite opinion because they want you to stay on this platform. Because if you see just everything that you believe in, you're going to get off the phone. You'll be like, okay, my opinion is validated. But if they continue to give you the opposition and like people that are against you and this and that, I said, you're just going to stay. You're going to stay in this angry cycle of posting and staying on, and they get their ad revenue and all this stuff. Bro, I had people tell me like, oh, you don't believe in this? You don't believe? Yo, you're a fucking. I'm like, okay, bro. I'm like, I'm good on this. I said, I'm done. I delete people, and I just like, all right, you're just gonna be angry. You want to be. It doesn't even matter what side. You're gonna be angry. You want to be that way. Keep living in that vicious cycle. I can't do it. I can't listen to the garbage anymore on everything. Back to the cop work, my man. So. We barely scratched the surface. You had the dream, you started, and then you decided to make the actual change. So now, what were the first steps? You said you started bike riding and doing stuff like that. How did it translate into getting yourself in check?
So as far as my diet is concerned, all I knew was what I knew back when was MyFitnessPal. So that's how I started. I just started tracking calories, trying to eat like a relatively high protein diet. And then I would walk through a gym, a shitty command gym every day. Like literally the bathroom water would like leak into the gym. It was like everything was rusted. And I just sat on a bench one day and decided, okay, what can I do? What workouts can I do in this gym to get better, start lifting weights? And then I just started lifting weights, doing that. And then from that, just doing better, evolved into my everyday life. How dopamine works is, especially when you succeed in any task, any goal, whatever it be, you will want to do more things that are good for you because you're doing something else. So because I started just making better decisions, eventually I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll take the promotional exam. And then I did. Okay. And I passed. Then, maybe I'll go back to college. I went back to college, got my degree finally. Maybe I'll write a book. Did it, wrote a book. And like all that stuff just bleeds one into the other. And I don't think people realize how powerful it is just making one decision and continuing on that path, not beating yourself up over bad things and celebrating those wins in your head. And it literally will rewire your brain. It's called neuroplasticity, man. And it works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taking these compounding effects. It's really what it is. It's little daily wins, weekly wins, monthly wins, yearly wins.
Yeah.
You know, the Bedros thing, I can't take credit for that, but he talks about just compounding the wins. Because the second that you hit that snooze button, that's an L. You start compounding losses and feeling a certain way, and things aren't going with the way that you want them to. And just it takes time to kind of go into everything.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges when you first got started that you saw as obstacles that you overcame?
Well, my first obstacle was when the very first day that I rode my bike to work, I got a flat tire.
Oh, shit.
And then I had to walk my bike all the way back. So I was like depressed. Like maybe this is a message from God or somebody saying that I shouldn't be doing this, that this is impossible. So that was like the obstacle number one. Obstacle number two is obviously work. Work gets in the way a lot. I just couldn't let it be the thing that got in the way because it ruined everything before that point. So I wasn't going to become a statistic to that. And just what people think about you, you know, the second you start doing, and it's so crazy. If I was to go out right now and I was to post on Instagram, yo, I'm going out tonight, I'm going to get fucked up, I'm going to have 46 beers, everybody be like, yeah, hell yeah. But the second you start doing anything positive, people are like, what do you think, you're fucking better than us? What do you think? Like, dude.
Isn't it strange?
It's so crazy, dude. But there was that opposition too, especially when I started like leaning into social media and creating a social media account. Is people were very negative and apprehensive at first. But I mean, listen, now those same people come to me for advice. It's just like that quote, like people who talk shit about you will eventually come back around and ask you how you did it. And that does happen a lot. So I'm very thankful for that. But those were the main oppositions.
Isn't it? It's so crazy to me that people will be so supportive of destructive behavior, but they won't be supportive of you when you're trying to better yourself, quit alcohol, this and that. I find it crazy that I still have to say, even when I say, I haven't drank, I've been sober since for 8 months. Like you have to. I wasn't an alcoholic. Like I just want to be very clear about that because people automatically think that you had a problem because I'm giving up something that's so culturally accepted. Like one of the most culturally accepted drugs on the planet.
Yeah.
Drink, have some wine, whatever, unwind, this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll just have seltzer. And people look at you, they're like, oh, you know, I've had a lot of friends follow suit. Tyler's been sober too. Tyler's been sober since June.
Good for him.
Yeah, I believe he's been sober since June. It's just, you almost have that compounding effect from the right people in your circle though. Because once you purge your circle from those bad people that don't give a fuck about you and that want you to do those destructive behaviors, now you have the people that are like, oh shit, like I see Nick's leveling up. I see Aaron's leveling up. Maybe I should try what they're doing.
It takes a while to really realize who actually gives a shit about you. You know, you think that just because you grew up with somebody or somebody has been in your circle for a long time that they actually care about you and support you. No, that's 100% not true. A lot of people, especially when it comes to doing negative things, doing bad things, and this is why it's so celebrated to do bad and negative things, is because they want to feel good and comfortable about the shitty things that they do, and they're looking to drag you into their group of doing shitty things. So the second you start doing something that deep down, those people know that they shouldn't be doing those things, and now they feel some type of way about what you've become, and you were able to escape that, and they haven't been able to escape that. And now they're judging you for being better, you know, trying to get yourself better than you were, and they still see themselves stuck in that same place.
Yep. I had a buddy who I just not recently stopped talking to, but we stopped talking around March. I just kind of was on my level up journey, this and that. Friend from high school. Love him. I really do. Love him. And he was just in a very bad situation with his girl. She is a horrible human being and multiple kids with other people and then couple kids with him. And it was a really shitty situation. She's just a misery. And he would constantly say how much he can't stand being around her and this and that. And I'm like, bro, you got to change your life, man. Only you could do it. Just because you have kids, you could still do.
Oh, yeah.
You can still get out and be able to experience life and this and that. He's like, fuck it. 20 years isn't that bad. And like making excuses. And then you just hear the constant negativity. And then I had said something to him about going and doing one of Bedros' Squire programs with his son. I said, you should go. I said, you do ice baths it's like a coming of age moment with you and your kid. And, it's just like you get to do ice baths and journal together and do all this crazy shit to like just build yourselves up together. And he just goes, why would I pay somebody to teach me what I'm going to teach my son? And I'm like, bro, you're like taking this the wrong way. I'm not saying that you wouldn't. This is just like something to do with your kid. And then
I never heard of that, so I think that's awesome.
Squire program, yeah. And then he just went on telling people that I know that Nick basically said I'm a shitty father and this and that. So I was like, okay, bro, you just stay in your miserable little world, man. Best of luck. I wish you the best, dude. I want you to get the most out of life, but in your current predicament, you're not able to, and you need to change that.
Isn't it so crazy? Like me, like I know I'm very confident in the fact that I'm a good dad, right?
Yeah.
And I still think that is awesome. And my kid's not, I don't know how old the kid's got to be.
Let me get my phone. Let me check.
But like, my son is 6 years old. And like, I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can get him in an ice bath, but like, I would love to do some type of like program like that with him. Because right now I have him in, it's this program. It's in Bethpage. It's called Kid Strong. It's essentially like a kid's work. Bro, it's really cool. They teach kids about gratitude and like, being positive, and it's like a CrossFit class for these kids.
Oh, they don't just put an iPad in front of them, make them sit there like fucking zombies? Interesting.
And it's awesome, and he loves it, and like, it's just something I want him to continue like later in life,
The Squire program, raise a strong man today. When you, this is going to sound like an ad, but I fucks with Bedros, man, and I fucks with what he's doing. He's dope.
I got to check it out. Honestly, up until the point where you talked about him right now, I didn't know who that was. So now I'm going to have to check this out.
It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Yes, 100%.
Frederick Douglass. Mm-hmm. Let me see. So you can raise a man, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to see where they tell you exactly what they do.
No, but you're right about the kids, though. That's why the one book I didn't give you is another book I wrote. It's a gratitude thing for kids. So it's for kids ages 5 to 10. And one page, it's like a giant workbook size, like a coloring book. And one half is just like questions to help them reflect on what their day was. Hey, what's something good that happened to you today? Did you help somebody today? Did somebody help you? What's something hard that you did today? And then the next page will be like, draw a picture of you with your family, or draw a picture of you in your happy place. So it gets them to reflect on good things, because kids today don't appreciate shit, man.
No.
Adults are bad, but kids don't appreciate shit because, listen, they don't even have to sit through commercials anymore, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Instant gratification, just like every which way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find strongman, blah, 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 brother. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my son Andrew to acquire and understand these traits sooner in life, because I knew the society that he was growing up in was much more confusing than the one I grew up in. Mm-hmm. So when he turned 13 years old, I wanted to do something special for him that would mark him as a man. I want him to understand his character matters, the importance of keeping his word to others, having core values and principles to live by, how to be a gentleman and a warrior through his journey of life. And he said, I assembled a group of men who I respect and who live lives of high moral authority to put my son through a rite of passage experience. We flew out to a tactical training center that was used by police, federal agents, and the military to better hone their skills. Then after a full day of high stress and high speed experiences, we poured wisdom into him that we wished we had gotten as teenagers ourselves.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
cool, man.
It's cool, man. I mean, he's got something really cool going on with this. It's a father-son journey where we take both of you through a 15-hour long ritual.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
For your son, we put him through a rite of passage from being a boy to having a seat at the table with men. For you, we show how to groom your son into a capable and confident man who's a protector and provider and who's always prepared to stand his ground. Within the Squire program, there are 5 instructors who will lead you through the experience. And so basically, it's just, I gotta be honest with you, I thought it would be more expensive.
How much is it?
$1,900.
That's not bad.
Yeah, one-time dates and locations below. That dude Nick Kumalatasos, whatever is how you ever spell his Greek last name. Shout out Karolakis. He's the only Greek name I can pronounce right off the cut. And then they have just a bunch of like ex-special forces guys that come through, and it's cool, man. We need more shit like that, bro. The youth, not only is the youth our next line just coming in, obviously, but it's just like everywhere you turn, man, they're just making everybody weaker, and they're taking the masculinity out of things. They're taking just like the ability to just be a man. They're literally castrating us, and we have to have these conversations because, like, I don't have kids, like I said, but when I have kids, doesn't matter if I have a daughter, it doesn't matter if I have a son. That's a new role for me now. I'm not just a man on this planet. I am a father, and it's my duty to not only protect them, but to make sure that they are useful citizens in society, not just people that are going to take up space. I don't want that for me and my lineage and family. And some people will look at that and be like, oh, that's so old and ancient. Guess what? Shit would seem a little bit better back then. Yeah. Shit seemed a little bit smoother. There was less mental anguish in a lot of people when we had purpose and drive.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody lives on extremes of the internet. So that's the thing is like, you have the extreme soft and you have the extreme like totally crazy, insane, like hard. But the middle ground on everything
is beautiful.
Is beautiful. And that is where everybody should be. There should be a mix of like, hey, like people look at journaling as like soft. Like, dude, no, journaling is not soft. That's one of the hardest things to do is like sit there and actually like be with your own thoughts or meditation. But people will be like, oh, that's soft. That's pussy behavior. You shouldn't do that. And then like there's people who are like, oh, well, the opposite extreme where they hate everything that's, like, oh, yeah, learning how to hunt or learning how to, like, cook your own food, like, is, like, too, like, masculine or, like, hold the door open or, like, shake somebody's hand properly. That's too hard. That's antiquated. No, dude, that is not antiquated at all. Like, I can tell everything about a person the way they look in my face and shake my hand. 100%. And, like, if that's wrong, I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. We need more of this. We do. We need more of this, just this... hardened type of a mentality for family structure, because it really starts at the house, man. It doesn't start in your school system. Let's make that very clear. Your school system doesn't start. It's not the one that's going to teach your children this and that. Where it starts is your home as the man and as the woman of your household, and making sure that you instill good behaviors, morality, like a family structure of everyone looking out for each other. I'm sure you've told your daughter that she looks out for her little brother. Like these are things like that we all have to. And I feel like it's just like it's turned into the digital age of just everybody just has a screen in front of them. And I'm guilty, man, by myself. Screen in front of your face at all fucking hours of the day, and it's just you sit there and you look up at the clock and you go, oh my God, has it really been like that long since I've like gotten up and done anything? It's bad, man. It's just the screen sucking.
It's so funny. It's like I've heard you talk about this several times. So like I always like hesitate to tag you and shit because I'm like, if I tag him, he's gonna look at his phone. It's probably gonna fucking ruin his day.
Nah. Bro, I get tagged all day.
I know.
People sit next to me. I really do keep my phone on D&D most of the day now. I really do. It may be bad for business in certain ways and this and that, but I can't just be on all the time. Yeah. And then there's weeks that I go ham with it. I'm posting a clip a day, maybe 2 clips a day of the podcast. I'm on TikTok. I'm posting to YouTube. And guess what? I see growth. But then like after a week of doing that, I'm burnt out, bro.
It's exhausting.
I'm so tired. And then I got to keep up with the fucking comments. And it's like, it becomes too much because now I'm just sitting here like this. And I don't want to sit here like that. I've been yearning for more of a nomadic outlander type lifestyle as of late. And I never thought I would be like that. I always thought I'd be a city kid. I always thought this and that. Nah, man. I've been looking at places in like, no joke, I've been looking at places in Omaha. Middle of fucking nowhere. Omaha. Fat pads, bro. 600K mansion with tons of property. Bro, if I could get the podcast to that position where I could fly you guys out, fucking hang out for a week, like Cam Haines type shit, come hang out, just be able to just enjoy nature and quietness. And when you look up at the sky, you actually get to see the sky, and it's not just like bullshit. And I don't know if it's like that being instilled in me of like wanting the polar opposite of where your life kind of goes towards, but I want that simplicity. I really do. Things are too complicated. I don't know if I'm getting older. I really don't. I don't know if I'm getting older, but like, which I am getting older, but I don't know if I'm getting older in the terms of like with technology, but just to do simple tasks seem more in depth than they've ever been. Like when I first had my iPhone, I used to get excited. I pick it up, text, go on the internet, this and that. Great. But now it's like, its own feature set gets in its way, and it becomes a burden to use in certain situations that I just go, oh my God. Like I find I have more spelling errors.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I find I have way more spelling errors. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way I'm fucking up that bad on some of these spelling errors. I find that just to do simple things like to copy and paste, you have to hold it down. It's like things just don't come up easily. Then it's like you held it too long and now it goes away. Or, oh, you have to swipe over to get to the next page that has copy and paste. This just has find more information on it. Like, oh my God, bro. Like, just do what the fuck I want you to do. Like, it's not that difficult. I just wanted to look up a steak, like a steak site. That's all I wanted you to look up. So my rant is over. I feel like I want that simplicity. And I have a conversation with a lot of people as of late, just where my life is going to take me. Because I'm in a totally different place than I ever thought I would be. Ever.
Good.
Never. And that's okay. I'm embracing it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm embracing it. I'm learning a lot more. There's a lot more self-development in it. But, you know, everybody goes through the point mentally of like, do you stay where you're at or do you go somewhere else? Like, that's just always a question in everybody's mind. It's expensive to live anywhere. It really is. It's expensive to live. To be alive, and now this generation, it's just expensive. Between insurances, between business tasks and subscriptions and fucking taxes and all this stuff. It's so asinine how much everything costs and how much it takes away from your everyday life.
Oh yeah.
And stress, and it just builds up on you. Is Long Island the place for me long term? I don't know. Every month I see reasons of why it isn't. And I'm not one to make rash and drastic decisions. I'm not the guy to just like, I've had friends that just go, well, fuck it, I'm moving tomorrow. And it's like, okay, well, good luck. And then they come back.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. But I have to be more calculated with my money, with my dog, with my life, my family. And people have been asking me, well, where you want to go? I don't know. I don't know. Because I always called Long Island home. And all the places that I've traveled and I've experienced, I've always like looked around and just been like, I don't know, I like Long Island. I always have. But the way that life is going and the decisions that the state's making and this and that, it's sketching me out. And I'm just like, all right. So I start looking at other places and it's like, well, okay, the house is $500,000, fat house, like it's huge, great. But like, what is it like to try to make money out there?
Yes.
You know, and these are the things that I have to start weighing and figuring out. So I end my rant to say that I think everybody should be very aware of their emotions, of where they feel life could take them. You know, maybe I move to, let's say Omaha. Maybe I move to Omaha and I meet the girl of my dreams. Like that was what life had in destiny for me. I don't know. Maybe I move out there and I fucking hate it. I don't know. You know, so I think it's just important that we center ourselves, we meditate, we really do a lot of self-reflection, journaling. What am I happy with? What am I unhappy with? How can I make these situations and these things better? And what would make them worse? If I stay here, is it going to get worse? Do I feel worse? Am I going to be more upset? Like we have to weigh these on the scale and just see. And just take it day by day.
Of course. One day at a time.
Yeah, that was it. That long ass rant. That was it. I wanted to know how did you... Motivation is fleeting, and discipline takes over where motivation fleets. And that's why discipline is so important. But a lot of people that start any journey that they have, whether you want to learn how to play trumpet, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to be a better father, a lot of people just, once that motivation goes away, it's almost as if the mission has imploded and they just, whatever. They don't care anymore. They just they get turned off by the goals that they have because the goals seem too big. When you first started being at what top end weight, what were you?
425, over 425.
So 425. What was your original goal to get down to, or was it just lose weight?
Just lose weight, overall health, get better, long term. So I think that is one of the things people leave out big time. They're like, I want to lose X amount of pounds in X amount of time. And unfortunately, what they do is they won't meet that goal because the goal is usually absolutely ridiculous, as opposed to looking at it as like a lifelong journey. And I know it's corny because everybody always says it's, you know, fitness is what do you call it? Lifestyle, right? I forgot the corny line that everybody uses. Fitness is a lifestyle. And it's true. It is a lifestyle. It's a lifelong thing. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. So I think you have to give yourself that forgiving perspective if you do mess up and just get back on the horse the next day or the next meal. Break your day into 4 quarters, as I was big on this, is that you can lose the first quarter or the second quarter in a game, right? and you can still come back and win the day.
Yeah, we've seen it plenty of times.
100%.
Shouts to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
28-3.
And that's it, man. And as far as motivation is concerned, motivation does help to a certain extent. You know, like I'm always motivated to see other people, people doing what I do or what I've done. And even people who are just starting on their journeys when they're successful. And it motivates me to help other people do that. But it's discipline. You got to go when you don't want to go. And I know it's so cool. Everybody always says that you got to do what you don't want to do. And that's what makes the difference. But it really is what makes the difference. And if you want to meet your goals, that's really what you have to do. And don't forget why you started. And that's why it's so important to have a real reason why you want to do it. So people are like, if you want to lose 10 pounds for a wedding, to me, like, that's not a real enough reason that you're going to develop discipline. If you want to live a longer life because you don't want to fucking die and you don't want to leave your kids alone without a father, that's a real reason. And when I coach people, I get dark on them. I will be like, they'll be like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, well, why don't you tell your kids that you didn't feel like going to the gym today because you don't give a fuck about them? Right. And I know that's harsh. And people out there who are listening to this are like, oh, my God, that's so mean. No, it's not mean. That's the realistic perspective, because the second you stop going to the gym once, you're not going to go to the gym tomorrow. It becomes the opposite cycle. And then eventually your lifespan is 10, 15, 20 years shorter. And now your kids don't have a dad. Now, I always go way, way darker, man. I always like, okay, good. Your wife's going to fuck somebody else. Yeah, your wife's going to fuck somebody else. They're going to marry them, and that person's going to abuse your kid. How are you going to feel about that?
Yeah, you're going to allow somebody else to raise your child.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you're 1,000% correct though. Yeah. Like I would, if I had a daughter, I think the biggest drive factor would be like, who's going to walk her down that aisle?
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Man.
Yeah.
Who's going to give my daughter's hand away in marriage? Not going to be someone else.
Oh, hell no. No way.
Fuck no, man. That's going to be me.
Yep.
I'm going to look Buddy right in the eyes and be like, yo, man, I like you, but let's be very clear. Don't fuck this up. Because we'll have a problem.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah. So you have to get dark. You have to get real with it. So many people are afraid to get real. They're afraid to just like call a spade and say things that they have to say, and because they need to be said, not because like we want to say it. No. It needs to be said.
Yep.
It's like it is what it is. Everyone's so fucking emotional and so hurt about everything. Yeah. It's like, yo, we gotta have a little dragon skin in the game. You gotta like be able to toughen up.
People, like, the conversations that I have with myself are way worse than the conversations that people could ever have with me.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the mental aspect that people have to go into whenever they're trying to achieve something. Yeah, I'm not saying like beat yourself up, but you got to be hard on yourself and realistic and be like, you know what? Like the alternative is to not, get what I want. You got to be a fucking asshole. Give yourself that middle finger in the mirror all the fucking time.
You know who's the king of that?
Oh,
Jamal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jamal goes dark when he starts looking at himself in the mirror. He calls himself a bitch, like looks himself right in the mirror, and he'll say it out loud. People look around, they're like, is he talking to himself? He's like, oh yeah, that man's going into a dark space right now.
I love him. I see him at Bev's all the time. I'm always saying what's up to him, man. Like, but like, he's a scary fucking dude. Yeah. Like, I'm like, I can't tell if this guy likes me or not, but hey, how's it going?
If he says hi, he likes you. If he says hi, he likes you. Yeah. Nah, if he doesn't say hi and he just stares at you, you might want to just go somewhere else.
Nah, he's the best,
man. What were some of the immediate changes that took place?
I immediately started, lost a couple pounds. I lost 70 pounds fairly quickly, just like riding my bike and tracking diet. That was over, I want to say a couple months. And then those are the immediate changes. But the other changes was just my mental aspect of just life in general and how I looked at things. And like now that I saw that this was possible at the beginning and I started achieving things, it made me want to achieve more things.
Yeah. Did you have more of like a brighter, light outlook on life as well? Oh,
yeah, of course. As soon as you start focusing on yourself and controlling the things that you actually can control, because we get so caught up in the things that we can't, and we make excuses around the things that we actually can control, things seem much more manageable. And it like really shifts your mental perspective on how to deal with life.
Yeah. Once again, life is tough. I can't emphasize it enough. For everybody, life is tough.
For everybody.
We all go through shit, and it's just you have to be able to get to that next high point of looking down at the bad points and just going, oh man, I'm so glad I just toughed it out. Yeah. Because you're going to have more low points. You're going to have more high points too. Yeah. It's just, you have to ride the roller coaster. That's really what it is.
That's what creates resilience, man. And, we live in a culture where we almost like shy away from resilience and doing hard things and difficult tasks. I actually wrote this thing. It's like the dichotomy of life is trying to help people not go through what you went through, but then realize what you went through is what made you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't shield everybody from their experiences.
No,
you can give advice, you can help them along in their journey and tell them this is what I had go through, and you may experience similar things or you may not. And if they take that information, most of the time they won't listen to it. They'll just like when I used to get told like, "Hey man, enjoy, it goes by quick," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." I feel like I blinked and farted once, and then all of a sudden it's like, "Holy shit, I'm 30? What do you mean I'm 30?" Yeah, it goes by quick. So you got to enjoy it. You got to really just take it for what it's worth, man. Everyone just takes that life so hard. Everything is so hard. It's like, if there's one thing I have to emphasize, it's just like, you have to be able to just relax.
Take your life so seriously that you don't take everything that seriously.
Yeah, man. Take your health, take your mental health seriously. Take the important things seriously, but all the other bullshit, it's just like, listen, man. Oh, somebody stole your credit card. They used your money. Yeah, guess what? Call the card. They'll cancel the card. And you get your money back. Okay, don't worry about it. It's like, instead of fucking having the Hades from Hercules moment where the hair goes on fire. Yo, we're gonna be all right, man. Everything's gonna be cool. Don't worry. So I tell people, it hasn't helped in certain in argument situations on the street. But like when I get into arguments on the street with people, which happens more so than you would think around here. I don't know why. People just like say shit, and I'm very calm and confident. I'll just look at people. I'll be like, "Yo, it's not that serious. We're gonna be okay. Like, relax. Take a deep breath. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay."
Yeah. What do you mean it's gonna be okay?
Yeah. I was the dude that was yelling at me with Kenji. He was yelling at me. He was going fucking insane. Got in my face. I was like, "Yo, we're gonna want to take that energy down a little." I was smiling in his face. I'm like, we're gonna want to take that energy down a little bit. Like, it's gonna be okay. Relax. Yeah, because I told his wife, please move a little quicker with the dog, because she was standing in front of us with Kenji's going nuts. Her dog's going nuts. She can't hold the dog. Kenji, I'm trying to hold Kenji back. He's on his hind legs, trying to get to this dog, trying to kill it.
Big dog too, man.
He's 83 pounds. I'm holding him back, and I said, "Hey, can you just move the dog a little quicker?" He goes, "What does that even mean, bro?" Like right in my face. I went, "Hey, man. Let's take that energy down, because I'll let the dog go, and your dog will not be okay. I'm just letting you know. Like, your golden retriever is not going to have not going to have really good experience if I let this go and I just deal with you. So let's relax. We're gonna get through this. It's okay." So yeah, I try to take things a little less serious now. And then going back to being a cop, because it's interesting, and I did write some statistics down that I did find on studies.
There we go.
But how much did the weight change affect your job? Because that's huge.
So you know what's crazy is I always tell this, and I was never a bad cop because I was overweight. Maybe my anger or my level of mental resilience was affected, but as far as doing the job for me personally, I was always a pretty decent cop. But it does affect people's jobs to a certain extent, depending on what it is. Now, I also have an advantage being a city cop that a lot of people don't have, right? I am never alone, right? So that's number one. Number two is...
As in you always have a partner?
Always have a partner or partners. And I always worked in teams, so there was more than one of us. Usually because I was the fat guy, I was the driver, So I wasn't the rabbit, as we call it. I wasn't the guy like always chasing after somebody. But it never... in situations where you are in law enforcement and you are alone and backup is far away, dude, that's the difference between life and death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it definitely could be the difference between life and death for me too back then. I just didn't look at it that way, unfortunately. And like, I'm very fortunate that I've made it to this point and still alive because I let myself go and like, all that other stuff. But
I see heavy cops, and I just kind of just have like a moment where I just go, "Oh man, dude, like you, this doesn't affect you." Like
of course it does.
God forbid you got you have to wrestle a perp and shit like that. Like, you could be heavy and have weight behind you, but you don't know how to move, man.
Right,
like you don't understand like grappling. You don't understand any of that shit.
No.
So it's like, bro, you're putting yourself, in a very bad situation from the cut, like right out the gate.
People should have at least some type of, at least know something. So even up until the point where I became a cop, I used to take martial arts.
What'd you take?
It was this guy. So it was Wing Chun, right? But this guy, he was a retired detective sergeant from Lindenhurst. It was a place called Modern Warrior. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's not there anymore. But this guy was like the real deal. Like, I mean, he had a whole setup in his garage. You could look it up. There's videos on YouTube of it where he had a whole setup in his garage. It's almost, I want to say, like a real life course. Like, he used to be able to make it rain in there, dude. And
oh,
like,
shit.
Yeah, bro. And like, Wing Chun is a lot of like blindfolded fighting, like misdirection, like physical contact. Like it's just very different than a lot of other things. You know who practices Wing Chun is there's a guy on Instagram, Dominic Izzo. So if you ever go to Dominic Izzo's page, he was a former Chicago cop. He has some videos on there about like what Wing Chun looks like it, and it's good. So I always took martial arts, so I was always pretty confident in that. But I mean, every cop should have some type of baseline. I mean, it's unfortunate that in training, the training that we get, and people in the NYPD will always be like, "Oh my God, our training is terrible," and that is true to a certain extent. Except they don't realize that I am in contact with cops from all over the world, and there are police departments, bro, where like this is what their academy is. They go to a community college. This is true in Florida and other places. They go to a community college. They take a police science course, right? That's their knowledge, and then their physical fitness is okay. Here's a P90X DVD. Do this for your physical fitness portion, bro, and then they graduate with this certificate, and then they have to put in a bid to get accepted by an agency to get on. That's it. That's all that exists. And it's crazy. They don't learn any tactics. They don't learn how to do any of this stuff. And then like, it's insane, dude.
I mean, it has to, I feel like if I was an officer or if I had to go out there and battle the demons of people and society and shit like that, I would want to stay sharp.
Yeah,
like I really would.
Stay sharp, yeah.
I have a lot of guys at jiu-jitsu are cops.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
You know AJ from Bevs?
Yeah.
So I roll with AJ a lot.
Okay, nice.
AJ is so fucking strong. It is so scary, dude. He's so strong. I mean, and every time he gets me on like a knee on belly, he'll put me in a knee on belly, and then he'll grab the back of my head and pull my head. So he'll have his knee in my solar plex, and then he'll pull my head into his knee. It is just a horrible situation to be in. But it's like, you need to be able to know.
Which jiu-jitsu do you go to?
Sarah. Matt Sarah's.
Okay, so you know Sal Acamando?
No.
All right, yeah. So
why would you ever come?
I've done jiu-jitsu a couple times, dude. Like, here's my issue, okay? And I know everybody says this shit, all right? But like, I've done jiu-jitsu a couple times. And in those couple times where I've done it, like, dude, my shoulder mobility is so fucked.
Yeah.
That like, I am so scared of like getting like my shoulder ripped out of its socket. Like,
it's who you roll with.
Dude.
It really is. It's who you roll with. AJ and I roll pretty rough together.
Yeah.
I've had more issues rolling with like bigger guys with my my jaw getting cranked. That has hurt more than say legs or arms or stuff like that. Generally, I tell dudes, I'm like, yo, if you get me in an arm bar, I'll tap. Like, just go into it slowly. I may try to roll out of it, but just don't crank it. Like, just don't rip my arm back and shit like that. Most of the guys are very cool.
Yeah.
I've had most of my injuries in the white belt class. That's the issue. There was and just recently,
all younger people.
And I haven't listened. We were supposed to do the podcast a week ago. I didn't feel well last week, so I haven't rolled in over a week now. And I was going to go this morning. I'm going to go to the competition class tomorrow, which is asking for trouble. But even before then, there's a guy that had come for a trial about a month ago. Brazilian dude, very nice guy, doesn't know any Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whatever. We were paired together, and I was teaching him while the instructor was showing us. I was paired with him to teach him a little bit more. And he was in the class right before I got sick. He was in the class to do live rolling. So once we all drilled, we did our thing. We started live rolling at the end.
Okay.
He came over to me to get. He basically had to get past my guard. This dude was going 300%.
Yeah. See.
But like a nasty 300.
Yeah.
Like trying to like really push my shoulder down and this and that. So like. Okay, I'm giving you 60%, bro. Like, relax. Like, it's not that. We're trying to just do the moves, but without like being nice without being babyish to each other. Where we just lay there and let you do it.
Right.
So I got fucking tired of him, bro. I grabbed him and I tucked my elbow and I picked him up and I slammed him down. And then I turned around and I was like, bro, if you're gonna this is like my message. If you're gonna roll like that, I'm gonna roll like that back with you. And then we'll both get hurt. I'm just letting you know. Like, if you want to do it like that, I'll put all of my effort and energy into this and we'll both have an injury.
So the couple of times I've done jiu-jitsu, it's been in like very introductory level stuff.
Yeah.
Like
no live rolling, like real.
No, it's all just like tactic stuff, like teach people. And the people that I've been with have been very experienced, which is good because they're people. So experienced that like when we were rolling, like I didn't even tell them. I'm like, hey, listen, just, like I'm not that great. Like he was able to feel the point of tension in my shoulder.
Yeah.
Where was the maximum that he would be able to push before hurting me? You know what I mean? And like him informing me of that, he knew that, like made me confident in the ability to roll with this guy who I knew wasn't going to completely take advantage. And like
most people are like that.
Yeah.
Even in the comp classes.
Yeah.
There are times when we go heavy. There's times when we go off. This and that. I popped my knee once in class, and I was like, "Oh, this is it, man." I thought I tore something. I was like, "That's it, bro."
Yeah.
Like you asked for it. You let your ego get in the way, and you fucked your knee up. And then I was fine. It just needed some rest. But it's tough. But it's really fucking good.
Yeah,
like
it's really good. Yeah.
You learn a lot.
I think everybody should learn it. So we've had a couple tutorials. The NYPD has a BJJ team, and they also have an MMA team, and they always have experts. The Gracies come in and like do stuff. So that one of the things I did was I was with the Gracies, and they like literally altered a program to teach cops based on what our use of force protocol is, and it was very informative and very good. And one of the biggest mistakes that I currently see on the street, like when it comes to tactics, and I'm not a Monday morning quarterback, okay? I'm not. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'm glad I'm not caught on videotape, is like they don't get close enough. They leave too much space in between them and the person who they're trying to arrest or wrestle, and they don't realize that they can't control somebody out in front of them as nearly as much as they could if they were on top of them or like close with them. And like that's something I learned also when I took Wing Chun is like it's all about closing the gap and closing that distance. You know what I mean? And people, I don't know if they're afraid to get that close to somebody or
because you think as a cop, you probably think someone's going to take something out, stab you once you get that close, this and that. You have to keep distance from you or the person. But at some point, if you're scuffling with somebody, you're going to be right on top of them. So now you have to just use that weight and throw it into them.
Of course.
I go against guys that are 300 pounds. So I've rolled against guys like that, and I just know the second that this fucking guy gets on top of me, I can't get out. Like that's it. It's over for me. So it's like I'll keep the distance and I'll try to do moves and maneuvers and this and that. But it's like it's tough. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about how movement affects you. There was we were doing takedowns, and I don't get nervous to do takedowns. I just always get nervous that I'm going to put someone down too hard, or they're going to put me down too hard, or when I shoot in, they're going to go down and we're going to collide faces or something like that. There's always that possibility. So I'm very calculated with when I shoot in. Some people will be like, "Stop running." I'm like, "I'm not running. I'm just not going to let you take me down." So if you want to take me down, fucking take me down. But we're not gonna do this. Like I'm just going to let you shoot in. We're going to shoot in at the same time and fuck each other up.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, but now learning that, with AJ, who's actually the last one that I got to do it with, we were going back and forth. Wouldn't let him take me down. Super strong. He keeps grabbing a lot of collar ties, grab me behind the neck, and then trying to break you down. A lot of soreness in the neck from jiu-jitsu. It's bad. Yeah. I've never experienced soreness like that. Base of the skull, top of the neck, and traps. Never experienced soreness like that. But anyway, so he kept going. And finally, I just saw the opening, and I went, "Oh, that's what it feels like." Now because he's totally upright. And I shot in, and I did a clamp right through the back like this. And I just topped him directly into his quads. Bam. And he went over like a sack of potatoes. And I was like, "Oh, that's what it feels like to be able to take someone down effectively." Yeah. It's cool because you learn. Like I never thought I'd be able to get to that level.
That's awesome, man.
Not that I didn't think I'd be able to. It's just like that in the timeline.
It's so cool, man. I love hearing about like your personal journey into jiu-jitsu, and I love hearing it from other people too.
You got to come through. You're gonna come through the series.
Okay.
I need you to come through the series. So. Stats on weight and the police force was interesting. I did a little light dive, just seeing what some studies from PubMed and whatnot. And there was a study conducted by the American Journal of Preventive Medicine, and it concluded that 40.7% of police, firefighters, and security guards are obese. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to know, like, your take on it. Why? Because theoretically, if you're out and you're doing things, you're up and moving, you shouldn't have the...
I do a whole thing on this, but a presentation when I usually present is, number one is people watch too much TV, cops included, and they see episodes of Law and Order or like these cop shows where cops are constantly chasing after bad guys every day and like doing all this stuff. That's not the reality of what it's like to be a cop, man. Most of the times we're just sitting around, riding in a patrol car or doing whatever it is on patrol, just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Or we're at a desk in an investigative unit doing absolutely nothing, not moving around enough. Then couple that with you're not meal prepping, so you're eating food that's out on the go and you're not making the best choices. You're going to get Chinese food or pizza late at night. That couples on top of that. But the sedentary lifestyle, we see this stuff on TV, even as cops, or like other people see, and like, oh, they have an active life. So us as cops, like, I have an active life. I have a busy. No, dude, you're just sitting around just as much as somebody who works somewhere with a desk job. You got to counterbalance that with somebody else, something else. Then hours, obviously, like if you work nights, like it affects your metabolism greatly. And dude, and we're like I said before, we are chronic enablers of each other. So we'll see somebody eating bad, we'll see somebody doing this, we're like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm all this stress. So we don't prioritize taking care of our health and taking care of ourselves because we have so instead of leaning into those good coping mechanisms like exercise and fitness and nutrition and meditation and mindfulness, those are almost like pushed away from the culture because they're positive. So instead we lean into negative coping mechanisms like eating like shit or drinking alcohol and doing these things as opposed to that. And then we get away from that. And that is what was the major cause. And obviously, don't get me wrong, stress is there too, but stress management is also there. There's no reason that we can't manage our stress. But unfortunately, we're chronic excuse makers in society. And then when you get into that enabling culture of law enforcement, we will give each other excuses. Excuses are almost built into the job. And police supporters and people who support the police, they're great. And I appreciate them so much. But they also give into that enabling culture of making us victims and that our job is so stressful that we have no choices, that we can't do these things on our own. And that all that affects on how we think about certain things. So unless we're really going to start taking care of ourselves and making that decision and actually acknowledging the truth, and the truth is the fact that we are not victims and nobody's coming to save us. Our agency's not coming to save us. No company's going to smack a cheeseburger out of your hand and fucking make you go to the gym. It's just not going to happen. You have to make the decision on your own, right? Whatever job you work for is not going to save you. They're not going to make it better. And in law enforcement, we unfortunately work in a job that we think should exist. Oh, the job should take care of us. They should give us time to work out. They should do all this stuff. Yeah, well, it ain't happening and it's not there. So unless you start doing it on your own, that may never happen. So you're going to wait forever? No, you can't wait forever. You got to take care of yourself in whatever time that is. You know what I mean? I know plenty of people. Listen, I have it really good where I work, okay? I worked very, very hard for a long time in long units working overtime. I have it very good where I work now, so I know it's very easy for me to manage that, but I also did it under the circumstances where things were difficult, and I was working all the time, and I was working around the clock. I managed both things. And there are plenty of people out there right now. There's a guy right now. I don't know if you know him, Brad Lombardo.
Oh, yeah. He rolls at jiu-jitsu with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he also goes to Bev's.
Yeah.
And I know him. I know him.
He's awesome.
And I know him for a long time.
Love him.
From where he used to work. And he is an extremely busy guy. And I always see him rolling. And I always see him in the gym. It's just that decision that you're going to... And he's got a family too, dude. You know what I mean? His wife competes, I think. I'm pretty sure.
She may. I don't think I've ever met her.
So you have to make these decisions. And unfortunately, we just choose not to do these things. And there comes a point where you just got to give up on those excuses. Like you either give a fuck about yourself and your health or you don't.
And that was actually the second part, which is like, how does it get better? And how do we fix it?
Yeah. And that's it. You just got to decide on your own that you're going to do it and take care of yourself first and make sure that you do it.
I find it interesting when I was with Michael Cunahan for a little while, I found he got a lot of fucking flack for taking care of himself.
Dude, yeah.
It was insane. I mean, I really wasn't around Mike that often. We did those 2 shoots together and like we talked here and there and I'd see his socials, but he would get a lot of fucking flack, man.
I love Mike. He was really, honestly, the forefront of like police, like actually like putting things out there on social media. I love Mike. I didn't know him when he started doing social media. It wasn't until like I was already on my journey and I'm like, oh, you ever hear this guy? I'm like, yeah. I went to the New York Pro to meet him once and I had him autograph the magazine. He was on the cover of Iron Man magazine and he was like laughing and I'm like, yo, it's so crazy that we're on the same job, whatever. I still have that, you know? And I love Mike to death because he really just started putting himself out there, making like me definitely put myself out there on social media, and he did get a lot of flack and still does. He's got a lot of haters. So listen, so do I. Yeah. I just don't fucking care. You know what I mean? And
how do you get to the point of not caring and just in your world, how do you get to the point of not caring?
You ready? So I'll read any social media post that's like normal, right? And I'll go on there and you'll just see these complete lunatics in the comments that are just so angry at like nothing. Mm-hmm. And it almost makes it comedic how people are just like mad at anything. They're just looking for a reason to be mad. And it's got nothing to do with you, man. You know what I mean? And the easiest transition for me was the fact that I remember what it was like to be that angry at other people. I would never comment on anybody's shit. because I'm not like that.
It's a special kind of person.
Right. But I remember what it was like to have thoughts like that, to be so negative and to be so angry and to be so resentful and jealous and all these things that I was masking through other stuff, that I remember what it's like to be that person. And I remember how that feeling had nothing to do with the people that I was taking my aggression out on, that it had everything to do with me and what was inside me. So that's the perspective that I keep. Every once in a while, I'll get one of them like, this is pretty funny or whatever, or like what, whatever. But for the most part, dude, like, I laugh about it, and I gotta realize, like, those people are hurt somewhere, and they have no other quiet lives of desperation, man, like we talked about before. And that's what most people live, and they're just looking to take that anger out in some other place in a negative way, as opposed to doing something for themselves.
Yeah, I've had people comment on the podcast, because I put reels up and TikToks, this and that. And every couple of weeks, I get the dude that just has to comment. He's just like, "Oh, look, another fucking person that's got a podcast doesn't need one." I'm just like, "Don't listen, bro. It's cool."
TikTok is the worst
you don't have
one,
to,
man.
It's actually YouTube reel shorts. I've been getting those people.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm like, all right, bro. I was like, hey, dude, it's a clip. It's a 30-second clip from a 2-hour conversation. If you aren't interested, the best thing to do is just to swipe and just keep going.
Yeah,
just go on about your day.
But the fact that they can't do that and they lack that self-awareness and lack of self-control tells you everything that you need to know about them. Everything.
Well, that's an Andre quote.
Yeah.
Andre says he leaves a lot of his negative comments up because that comment says more about that person than it ever will about me.
100%. And I usually do too. A lot of times I'll leave it there unless it's like the only comments I'll ever delete is if it's like something so off the wall, racist or like
wild.
Dude, I will like delete it and I'll block them. But negative comments, I'll leave it up there. I don't care.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion and to say what they want. That's fine. Especially when it comes to TikTok. I monitor my social media, Instagram comments. That's where I do most of my engagement. That's where I get most of my DMs. That's where I get most of my questions. I will post on YouTube Reels when I remember, and I'll remember, and TikTok, right? But as far as the comments, I will literally only engage if it's something I could say like funny or whatever. But I can't keep up, dude.
No,
I can't, it's very tough. So I've chose one platform, and my platform is Instagram because that's where most of my stuff comes from. And then a lot of the other platforms, I literally just post and ghost, dude.
And ironically, TikTok is where I have all of my shit because I'm at 53,000 on TikTok. So
and it's awesome because it's awesome. It's awesome to see you grow on TikTok. And Instagram's just fucked.
Instagram sucks, bro.
Oh, I had a post
Instagram is
the other day, and like, listen, dude, I'm gonna keep doing what I do no matter what. And like,
I post just to stay relevant.
Some of my favorite things that I post, they get the lowest engagement. Like, I love going to other gyms out of state and just like being like, oh, hey, I went to this gym. This is what it looks like. Here's like whatever. Lowest engagement ever. Never going to stop posting them. But some posts I post, dude, I have 37,000 followers. You'll go into the thing and it'll be like, how many people was this served to? Bro, 600.
Yeah.
600 people they showed it to.
Yep.
It's like,
I paid for the check mark for like 4 months. I paid the $15 or whatever it was a month for the check mark. I don't know. I didn't see any difference, so I just stopped paying for it. I'm like, fuck this check mark. I don't give a shit.
Twitter sucks. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah, they all suck. I mean, realistically, they all fucking suck. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the gyms because I had that out of all the gyms you visited. What's been your favorite? So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay,
we'll get to that in a second because I had done my Aaron homework. I know the stuff you like. One of the other things that I saw was like 8 out of 10 cops are technically overweight, technically, and the PubMed study on behavioral variables associated with obesity in police officers. 172 male officers had reported their height and weight. They were divided into non-obese and obese categories, which can be misleading because we obviously know BMI isn't everything. But also reported their age, their health problems, family support, police work hours, police stressors, and police support. And the results revealed that cardiovascular and strength training physical activity were the only behavioral variables between the two groups.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the outlier that caused them to either be obese or not. By the use of physical activity was like the outlier of that.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
No, that is interesting.
So I put underneath, is it an accountability problem? It seems like it would be.
Of course it is. Yeah. I talked all about that. It's self-accountability. Everybody's waiting for somebody. And this is just not in police. We're always just waiting for somebody to come in and swoop in and save us and take care of our life for us, man. That's why everybody wants to win the lottery. Well, if I just won the lottery, all my problems will be fixed. No, the fuck they wouldn't.
Nope.
You still have the same problems. You're not fixing your own behaviors. And you got to take accountability for yourself.
Yeah. No one's coming to save you. Ian Smith. Mm-hmm. No one's coming to save you. So now we're on training. So out of all the gyms you visited, what has been your favorite? Mr. World Traveler.
I have so many different types of categories.
And then I have honorable mentions underneath.
Okay. So I really liked What the hell's the gym in Chicago, man? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I thought you were going to say Kissing Me from Orlando.
Oh, Kissing Me Muscle Gym is my favorite for a different reason, though.
Yeah.
Great. You been there?
No, I saw you post it.
Great gym there. The guy who owns it is a great guy also. And I don't know if it was when he first started his gym, but I took a picture, and then this is going like years ago, man. Like I wasn't even like that crazy far on my fitness journey. I took a picture. I was alone in the gym. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was there. I took a picture, and it was on like an incline, chest machine, and I just had it on my Instagram. I sent it to him, whatever. He like printed it out and had it framed, and it's like right above the office doorway. It's still there. And then there's another picture of me on the wall in there too. And I love that guy. I haven't been to Orlando area in a while, but I can't wait to go back to that one. But I don't know why I can't remember the name of the gym in Chicago right now off the top of my head. I'm just
do you remember where it was?
It was in Chicago. It's a pretty mainstream bodybuilding gym. It's one of like the top 5 bodybuilding gyms. It's in Chicago. It was actually really cool. I've been to a lot. And then when
Iron Mind Gym?
No.
Barbell Compound, Quads Gym.
Quads, thank you.
Quads.
Jeez, man, I'm like shot. This is what happens when you get old. Don't get old, everybody out there, okay? Quads Gym is awesome. They had so much equipment.
3727 North Broadway, Chicago, Illinois.
They had so much equipment in that gym, Nick, that like there's a guy who used to come to Bev's. He actually lives in Chicago now, and he was from Chicago originally. He's like, oh, when you come here, you got to go to Quads. I'm like, all right. So I went there. I walked in, and there was like a shitload of equipment. And I start working out, and then all of a sudden, I see somebody come down from upstairs. And I go, what's up there? They're like, the gym. I'm like, what? And there was a whole upstairs section that had way more equipment than downstairs. And it was a really cool gym, man. And then when I'm in Aruba, I always hit up Body Zone Fitness. I've become very good friends with that. Like, so, and people are like, oh my God, you travel and go to the gym. Like, yeah, dude, like that's what I like to do. Like,
yeah, I got to hold myself accountable so I can enjoy eating a little bit and not go off the rails.
Yeah, the hotel is a gym, but it sucks. And I'd rather check out new places. So those are like definitely like the better places that I've been.
I do that with jujitsu now.
Yeah, Gold's in Venice is all right, man.
Now, Gold's in Venice sucks. Don't listen to him. That's the first thing that he said that's inaccurate on this podcast. Do not listen to him.
I said it's all right. It's just a basic gym, man. And like, comes on
my platform and just lies like that. That's insane.
No, it's okay. But what I'm trying to say though is it's like overrated. You could skip it. You know what I mean? And like,
just go to Gold's in Northport, or
it's essentially
all the way out east.
It's essentially the same thing, man. Yep. And I was definitely disappointed in that, but I didn't get to go to CT Fletcher's spot.
CT Fletcher's spot was cool. I
know.
Man. I got to film him there.
I know. I remember.
Yeah, that was gangster.
That's so cool. And West Coast. Oh. It's a very nice gym. I like to go to historic gyms, so I went to Easton Gym. It's actually the oldest gym on the West Coast, and it was in L.A. And I actually ran into in there. I didn't take a picture with him because I didn't want to blow up a spot. But you ever watch that show, The Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chef?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was like working out in there, and nice guy. And they were really cool in there. It's just cool to be in a historic spot. And then also out east, out on the West Coast, was this gym up in Portland, Oregon, called Laprinzi's. Laprinzi's gym is the second oldest gym on the West Coast. And when I tell you they have some equipment in there, if you go to my Instagram page and look for the video review I did of Laprinzi's gym, you're gonna be like, I have never seen this shit in my entire life. It's like, you know, like how in Bev's they have that like one or two chain operated like leg machines.
Nautilus pieces.
It's like all older shit like that. And they have like the round dumbbells. Like it's really cool, man.
Yeah, I love that old school feel. And nothing beats the old school equipment, man. Mm-hmm. The new shit sucks, man. It's like all the influencers on social media. You're just trying too hard, bro.
Not only that, there's some machines that are like new where I've tried them and I'm like, I definitely can't bench press 405 in real life. There's no way I should be able to be doing it on this machine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like false sense of hope.
Yeah.
And what are your favorite workout days? What splits have you seen that have been most effective for your body? And what do you least enjoy training?
When I first started, I used to do like the typical bro split, like, chest one day, back next day, and then like arms, then legs, then, whatever. But,
which most of us do. You upgrade.
Then I transitioned into doing, which is psychotic, is push-pull legs. So I would do like a full push workout, But here's the thing. Usually when people evolve into a push-pull legs workout, they like scale down how many sets and reps that they will do for each body part. And I was not doing that. Okay. So I would literally spend like over 2 hours in the gym doing push, doing pull, doing legs. My leg workout is essentially still the same as it always was. But now I split it into 4 days where I do chest and shoulders one day. I do back. I do like a pull workout. Like it's like back, rear delts, and like some type of like trap exercise. And then I will do legs, and then I will do arms. And the only reason I split it up into 4 was because I felt like I was rushing through arms at the end of a push and pull workout, that I wasn't getting enough. I saw like almost like a back pull in development for myself. What is my least favorite thing to train? I'm not even going to say legs because I've learned to love it. And especially now that I started like squatting a little bit heavier, like I feel good, man. I feel good. My least favorite thing to train is cardio. That's my least favorite thing to train. And
that was me.
Yeah. And I started running, which is psychotic in itself also. A couple days a week, I'll go out and I'll go run. Not fast. I am not fast by any means, but I'll go out and I'll run a couple miles. And it sucks for me the next day because my knees really hurt. My knees are fucked. But it feels good. It feels good after the fact. But that is my least favorite.
That was actually what helped me because I always knew I needed to incorporate cardio back into my routine. And that's what helped me with OG. Because like going there, I was just like trial by fire. Here we are. Like it's time to just go out and run on the assault runner because you do it every fucking class. And then that transformed into like the jiu-jitsu for cardio. Like that was another way of getting my expenditure and this and that. And then I started running up here. So a couple of times I was, over the summer especially, I would run from my apartment and I'd run all the way up Huntington Harbor and I'd run all the way down where all the yachts are in the marina. And I wound up doing about 6 miles in an hour. Like
holy cow, that's awesome.
I was doing pretty good, man. I was like really fucking torching it. And I'm excited for the spring and summer. I'm not the guy that like Tyler will go run outside right now and do the run club on Sundays. It's too cold. I'm not running outside.
It's so fun.
I'm not that motivated to run. I will go out when it's nice out and I get nice scenery and put my AirPods in and like really fucking hit it hard.
Yeah.
But like I need to be like in that mood. Like I really gotta want to run.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Same thing.
Yeah. So it's tough because then that goes back to like, ooh, be disciplined. It's like I'm disciplined. Fucking relax. I dropped 40 pounds in under 6 months.
I'm disciplined enough
to know
what works for me and what doesn't. And it's not like I'm not going to do other wild shit in that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've trained twice today, and now this run is on top of it. I'm tired. Exactly. Let me just get these reps in and call it a day. And then obviously one of the big things on weight loss journeys and something that is mostly overlooked as being the hardest part is nutrition. So I had a question of like, what have you used to be able to sustain a healthy lifestyle? But you also have a healthy attitude with food still, because you still are able to get pizza and enjoy food and not overdo it and be able to keep yourself in balance and in check. So what have been like some of the tips and tricks of the trade?
So here's the deal. When I first started, like I said, I didn't know very much about it. I was just using MyFitnessPal to track, which if you're out there and you're using MyFitnessPal to track, this is the first step, okay? We are sedentary mostly, okay? Don't put like you have a highly active lifestyle if you aren't like out there carrying roofing up to doing roofing every day or doing construction. That's number one. So quite frankly, and even if you do put sedentary lifestyle, it will be a little bit low in calories. You should probably eat a little bit more, right? But that's how I started, was MyFitnessPal. And I was under eating, not eating the right things. And then I had to like manage it a little bit better. And what I do now, and essentially this is what's gotten me the best results, is I will eat a high protein diet. I will eat 250, 260 grams of protein throughout the day, at least. That's at least.
And what do you currently weigh?
I currently weigh 265.
Okay.
And this is like on like the back end. This is like on the beginning. I don't want to even call it a cut. Okay. But like essentially October, November, I take not off from really monitoring my nutrition hard. I just take a break.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will
reset.
I will enjoy myself a little bit more. And then when, November, the end of November, beginning of December rolls around, I'll start coming back down. So, but what I do nowadays, it's so easy for me to stay disciplined at work because I'm prepping my meals. I will literally eat almost no carbs, dude. For breakfast, I'll have like eggs, Whole Foods, only supplement when necessary. Anybody who's listening to this, a supplement is called a supplement for a reason. You should be supplementing whatever is missing from your diet with that supplement. You shouldn't just be like, I eat 14 shakes a day. Like, okay, then you're on Slim Fast, dude. That, you know what I mean? So I will have eggs, Whole Foods, whatever it is. Even if it is like hamburger, meat, ground meat, steak, chicken, fish, whatever it is, that's what I'll eat. And I will portion it out for the day. So I'm getting at least like a certain, like over 40 grams of protein per meal per day. Then I'll go home. Then I'll have dinner, whatever my wife made for dinner. It will usually be a healthy option, whether it be like turkey meatballs. The turkey meatballs is big in my house. So let's just say that. Turkey meatballs, should make some pasta. I will have a little bit of pasta, nothing crazy. And then I essentially, that'll be like my only like carb heavy meal. Maybe I'll have some rice cakes with some peanut butter for dessert if I want to enjoy something. And then I essentially save up whatever I want, like calorically, for a heavy calorie meal at the end of the week. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But that's just so I can keep that balance where I'm not going nuts. This is why when people are like, oh my God, you can eat pizza, this is bullshit. Like, no, dude, it's because I save those calories throughout the week so I can have that thing. And this is what I want to impart on everybody out there listening, is that's what I do. Like, I know, Nick, you're big into fasting and doing all this other stuff. Yo, that's great too. And on social media these days, we get so caught up in like what one person is saying to you that you want to join whatever cult they're trying to preach to you. And here's the truth. Everything fucking works. It just works in a different way. You have to figure out what works for you specifically to maintain your nutrition, to maintain your diet, and get the result that you're looking for. Because if you are not getting that result that you're looking for from whatever this person that you're listening to, then it's not working for you. You got to like move on from something else. We see these people in the gym all the time. They've been there for 5 years. They look exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
It's crazy. No results, but they just keep on doing the same thing. Like, you should try doing something else. And I say that to everybody. When people come to me, they're like, oh, well, I do intermittent fasting. Cool, dude. We'll work around your intermittent fasting. Oh, I don't eat this. I don't eat carbs. Okay, well, we'll work around this. Or I'm a vegan. Okay, cool. We'll work around this. I mean, vegan comes with its own set of issues, but, you know, I don't give a fuck, okay? Yeah. I will help you with whatever you can. Just know that if you're not getting the results that you want, stop doing that thing and try something else. Don't be married. And this is why I have this hoodie on. This is my favorite hoodie. Nobody knows anything because everybody will complain, will say that they're an expert in shit, and they don't know shit. They don't know anything.
I don't know
you know
anything.
What I mean? Right. Me neither. I will be the first person to tell you, even now, what I just said up this whole podcast, I don't know anything. If you don't want to listen to me, don't.
Okay? Yeah. Click next.
Yeah, exactly.
Click that little arrow. Yeah. It's, I think everybody just needs to be able to experiment because it just takes time.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of fell into the fasting. I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I don't do it every day, but maybe a couple times a week, I'll do it here and there. I'll fast for an 18-hour window, or I'll just happen to just be like, yeah, I feel good. I'll just do 24 today, and I'll just do 24 hours.
Yeah.
You should join Tyler and I. We have.
I know. Day after Christmas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Come on, man.
I don't know if I could do it, man.
You could do it.
You ever see those? Remember those old commercials like "Have a Snickers"?
Yeah,
you're not yourself.
You'll be okay,
bro. That is me.
You'll be okay. We're gonna get you. We'll get you some elements. You get some electrolytes.
I can only do it if I am at work because I don't want to wind up divorced. You know.
I'm telling you, you'll be good. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's I'll tell you what. Truth be told, you should do a 24-hour before then just to see how you feel. Because the 24 hours, man, I could keep going. I feel after 24 hours, I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even want food right now.
A lot of people say that they have a problem like after hour 36. It's like
that's where you start getting your demons.
Yeah,
that's where you start. That's where we started figuring it out last week. We haven't done a podcast yet. We were supposed to do it last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
we were supposed to do it right after yours, and then I was not feeling well. So we're going to do it in this week to just talk about just some of the stuff, slowly integrating food back in, because you can't just like, oh, I finished my 48-hour fast. Let me go out and get a cheeseburger. It's like, no, you got to drink some bone broth, chill out, like just get your stomach acclimated again to eating, because there's like a reverse process that has to come into effect. But like, it's weird because I've never experienced my stomach empty.
Yeah.
You feel like your stomach's like flat against itself. Like there's nothing in there. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
But then you look in the mirror and you start tightening up. I mean, we eat like assholes on Thanksgiving to be able to like do a fast for 48 hours and then all of a sudden you're bounced back and you're totally fine. You don't look at yourself. You're just like, whoa, what's this magic?
Yeah.
It's like crazy, guy. I have one cheat meal back when I was bodybuilding and I'm fucked for 3 days. Like,
It's crazy. Yeah.
But now it's like I can fast after my cheat meal for 24 hours and I was just like, oh, it didn't even happen. It's like weird. My body just like recovered. The insulin wasn't a problem. It just dropped down and this and that. It's pretty cool. So if you decide that you want to join us,
I'll let you know.
It's whatever your last meal on Christmas Day is, 48 hours.
Okay. I'll let you know.
So you get to eat Christmas Eve, you get to eat Christmas Day, get your desserts, get whatever you want in. But we're doing that microbiome fucking reset and all that stuff. Just we're going coffee, black coffee, water, and Element. Shouts to Element. Element, hey, listen, if you want a fucking loud Italian, sponsor me. I'm cool with it. I drink a lot of Element. They're not cheap, but they're good. So I'm happy to continue pushing them. I'll put a little box right there next to Goku in his little Ultra Instinct form. But I want to get into and start rapping, and then I want to get into your book as well.
Okay.
But your role with the NYPD, you transitioned into a more health and wellness role in teaching officers and doing these, speeches and what would you classify it as? Is it just health and wellness of just teaching people how to
health
live
and
better?
Health and wellness is the section that I work in, but my main function in what I do there now is I teach resilience, right? So people, when they think of mental health or they think of suicide and they think of all these things, there's 3 levels to it. There's prevention. Well, there's awareness spreading, right? Which is just like letting people know that these resources exist. But then there's prevention, intervention, and postvention, right? Prevention is like teaching people how to use tactics in their own lives that develop good coping mechanisms so it doesn't become a problem. Because when it becomes a problem and you get severely depressed, or you become severely anxious, or you become suicidal, now that's intervention, where somebody has to come in and tell you, or you tell yourself that you need more than just those tactics that have been working before. So that's intervention, like maybe like post-suicide attempt, or you were thinking about suicide. And then there's postvention, which is like after you make those things, making sure you check up on treatment, making sure you're okay, whether it be like whatever it is. The problem is in every culture, in everything, and this isn't first responders, we skip that prevention part so much in teaching people daily habits that they can do before they get to that point of crisis that can actually de-stress them, make their lives better, enhance their lives outside the career. Like when I teach these classes, I don't teach it as a standpoint because a lot of trainings, unfortunately, it's like, oh, well, the job wants us to teach this. Like, no, I came up with this training on my own, okay, based on the things that I do, based on my certifications of being an FBI National Academy resilience instructor. I teach these things on their personal life and how it's going to make them a better person outside this job. Because great, you're a better cop, cool, great, okay. But if you're not effective at home, if you're not effective to yourself, who cares? Who cares about any of that stuff, right? So that's mainly what I teach them. I teach them about self-awareness, physical fitness, nutrition, spirituality, right? I'm not even talking about, listen, if you're a religious person, that's great, but there's many people who aren't. And that's where like all that meditation and stuff, nature's another way to become spiritual. That's my number one thing, getting out of nature. And all these things, all these tactics, all these things that you should be practicing every single day. You don't have to practice every single one of them, but find things in those things that will benefit you and like cause you to not be susceptible to those negative coping mechanisms. So that's the main piece that I teach. And I also do other stuff there. Obviously, like I do one-on-one fitness nutrition counseling for anybody out there who's in the NYPD. I write free, 100% free fitness and nutrition plans for every single member of the New York City Police Department that requests one from me. And I give it to them. Okay. It's a basic fitness nutrition plan. I will send you a list of like 20 or 30 questions based on whatever your lifestyle is. You send me back the answers and I will build you a program, a basic program. I'm not going to follow you and hold your hand. That'll be impossible, but I will give you a basic place to get started. And I do that for every single member of the department.
It's amazing.
Thanks.
Amazing. And what do you see as the biggest opportunities with these roles that you're introducing to a lot of people?
I'm just able to
practices.
Yeah, I'm just able to spread these practices and spread this knowledge because I think that sometimes, at the end of my presentation, I show this famous video. It's a video where it's a man and a woman, and they're on this escalator, right? And this escalator just stops, right? And both of them panic, and they're like, "Somebody help us! We're stuck on an escalator," right? Meanwhile, if you know anything about an escalator, you just walk escalator stairs, dude. Just walk up. But this is such real life. People laugh at this video, and you're just meant to laugh at it because I'm meant to be. At the end, I go, listen, this is us. Like, we forget that we've had these skills the whole entire time to be able to walk up those stairs, and that an escalator just becomes stairs. We just stop using these things, and we need to start using these things more.
Facts. Let's get into the projects that you have currently. So you handed me a Grateful as Fuck, a daily gratitude workbook by Mr. Aaron Lohman.
Yes.
And you also handed me the journal for people that hate journaling. What were the inspirations behind this project?
So journaling has always been, or practicing gratitude has always been one of the biggest things that's helped me change my whole mind and outlook about life, looking for the positive, finding good things that happen during the day. And the reason I created both of those things is because for some reason, even if you've opened up the journal that hate journaling, right? I'll show you the first page here. It says, journaling may sound pretty lame, but here's some people that have used it to help them. And this is just a list of people that are in pop culture or throughout history that have used journaling in their life to get better. And like, for some reason, it's looked at like this soft practice, but there's people like Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, like, David Goggins is on here, Jocko Willink is on here. Like, these people use journaling and in their own life. And it's just looked at like this soft practice. It's not. It's just a way for you to reflect on your own thoughts. So I put quotes in here from every single one of those people to reflect on. And also I have prompts in here just to practice gratitude. Some of them are funny, some of them are like little sketches. Yeah, draw a bad drawing of a school bus, right? You'd be like, a school bus? Why would I draw that? Because I guarantee you, me even saying draw a picture of a school bus, you just had a memory, whether you realize it or not, of you going to school on a school bus. That was a good memory, right? Now that just jogged your memory. Now you're thinking about that, something that happened in your life that was good. So that was this one. The Grateful AF one is just essentially journal prompts every single day. You write down something that you did, something good that you did, your positive thoughts, something you're looking forward to. And then in the morning, you're supposed to like reread it to start your day. So you remember the things that you're grateful for. So you start your day on a positive note, as opposed to doing what we always do, is just grab our phone, scroll through social media, find something that pissed us off, and then it ruins our whole day. So that's this part. And then I have a kids one that I didn't bring in, but it's a deal.
It's okay. Kenji doesn't like journaling.
I talked about it already. It's made for kids. It's very easy journal prompts for kids. Hey, something good happened to you. What made you feel loved today? And then they draw a picture of, the book is called My Happy Place. So it's like the first art prompt is draw a picture of my happy place. So they draw a picture of their happy place. It's meant to make them feel happy and more grateful.
Super important for younger kids, especially, to have that outlet, because there's just so many emotions as they grow up, as they're going through biological, chemical changes, and to be able to have these outlets, it's important. And it also increases their brain capacity as well. They are able to then articulate themselves better and think through situations, and it just creates smarter, more in tune little humans that are going to be big humans one day. What was the inspiration for the kids, especially?
It's things I practice with my kids. So as learning gratitude, if those of you who have kids out there, you'll get it. When your kid gets off of school, you're like, oh, how was school today? Good. What happened? Nothing, right? So I've
done that to my mom. So
I've started flipping it and using my own gratitude practices on them. So what I'll do is like, hey, what's something good that happened to you today? They have an answer for that. They will have an answer for that, as opposed to just being like an open-ended question. So it's like, hey, you know what? I've been doing this with my kids for so long. Why don't I turn this into a practice that kids can do either on their own, or their parents can do the workbook with them? You know what I mean? Or even if you're a parent who likes to draw, or an adult that likes to draw, you can do the kids' book too. It's just meant for kids. And literally anybody could use it, and you should be doing it together. This way, you can have an idea of what they're grateful for, or even what's going on in their life. You know what I mean?
Which is huge.
Oh my God. So many parents don't even know what's going on in their kids' lives because they ask that question, oh, what happened today? Nothing. And then they leave it there. There's so much more going on, like in their kids' lives. It's insane. It's just a good way for people to reflect, and people really need to reflect on the good things. There's so much negative out there if you look for it, but there's also a lot of good out there if you look for it too. And we need to focus on that.
How's life been?
Oh, life's been awesome, man. Stressful, stressful with stuff. I have another project coming out soon, but I have that book too.
There's a new book.
No, this
is the original book.
This is the original book that came out last year. It's called Starting Over, right? Now, people think this is an autobiography.
Is this a picture I took at...
It is a picture.
Yeah, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So people think this is an autobiography. It is not. There's like a little bit of autobiographical piece about me and my journey on there, but the truth about the book is it is a total guide on how to fix bad habits, or like at least examine your habits that you have, whether it be mental. It teaches you about like cognitive behavioral therapy, tactics, why lifting weights is important, why water is important, why, and you know, like all these things, all this, like why working out is important, why physical exercise is important, how it affects your brain, right? Mental habits. And then the second half of the book is 30 recipes that I've used throughout my journey that are very easy to make, that you can, you know, make on your own and, you know, get healthy and kickstart your health.
By the way, I like that. A 30-minute workout is 2% of your day. And then for your information, if you watch 2 hours of Netflix, it's 8% of your day.
Yep. That's right. And you can work out while you watch Netflix. I don't know why, you know.
It puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
This is dope, bro.
Thank you very much.
Cheeseburger in a jar. Fire.
Oh, the best.
Fire.
The best, yeah. Such an easy meal to
I've
make.
had to get rid of dairy, though. Dairy's been ripping,
I know you said
ripping my stomach apart. I don't, dude, my mom, I had the fistula, the anal fistula
that's right.
surgery.
Yeah.
I had 2 surgeries for that. And then the scar started hurting again recently. And I was like, oh no. Don't. I'm like, I'm not going through this again. I'm not doing this. And I just went to the colorectal surgeon this past week. He's like, dude, you're good. There's nothing back here. I'm like, all right, dog. Well, I'm like, well, why are you back there? I'm telling you, man, it hurts. He just says, I think it's the scar tissue and this and that. I find that when I eat more dairy, or I eat like these Parm crisps that I fucking love. These
I know what they are. Yeah.
Oh, it's so, and they're just like one ingredient. They're perfect.
Yeah.
I find that I have to go to the bathroom more times in a day than if I just like had my fiber, ate my meat, like the rice and this and that, and then because I'm going more frequently, it starts getting tender again. So I think I have like like an IBD. Yeah. My mom's got colitis, so it makes sense, to be honest with you.
So what's funny is like I don't have colitis, or I don't have a gluten allergy or anything like that, but people who are listening, when I said that I maintain a relatively low carb diet during the week, one of the main reasons is that like my gastrointestinal tract gets severely inflamed if I eat too much bread. Like,
oh really? So the bread's the trigger for you?
I have and I get so swollen. Like if I were to go home right now and eat, and people think I'm lying when I tell them this, and eat a very like a cheap meal, like very calorie dense. Let's say I was going to go home and have 3 slices of pizza and maybe like a couple beers. Tomorrow when I woke up, I would get on the scale and I'd be up 12 pounds. 12 pounds, dude.
Damn.
No, I intake so much water and stuff. It's absolutely insane. So when I tell people that, people are like, no way, that's impossible. I'm like, no, dude, I'm telling you, it's absurd. So that's why I maintain a relatively low carb diet throughout the week, to almost like, listen, I don't know the science. I'm not like Lane Norton, and I don't know any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but I just know, and this is why I don't preach any specific type of diet ideology, is because I know that there's a huge difference between like what may be scientifically sound and proven via research and what makes people feel better and feel their best. So there should be a balance of both.
Yeah, you have to. You have to just balance it out. I mean, for me, I work better off animal based.
Me too.
When I had a ribeye last night with white rice. I felt great this morning. I woke up tighter. I felt great. This and that. Normally, you know, people would be hesitant to have a full fucking ribeye and not. I didn't weigh it. I didn't care. Like I track my macros, but once I get to a certain point in the day, I just kind of stop tracking. I'm just like, whatever. Like I'm good. But I feel better. And the issue comes into play of the iron now, because I eat a lot of red meat. So it's just like, all right, so maybe I just got to donate every 3-4 months, whatever. Like I'll do that because I feel better eating that versus chicken. I don't feel good when I eat chicken. I feel like drained out.
It's a little bit different for sure.
When I eat red meat, I feel good.
There's not enough fat in it, dude. You need a little bit more fat, dude.
Well, Panetti likes eating turkey now. I can't do the turkey. He says he found organic turkey. I'm just like, I don't know how organic it is. So it's tough. And I'm not going to go by the fucking food pyramid, that's for sure. So,
oh no, hell no.
You know, if I want to do that, I'd be poisoned and have to have every, you know, diagnosis under the book within 10 years. So I'm good on that.
Oh, you mean farmers who created grain were corrupt and making a food pyramid? How would that happen?
Why would that be a thing?
Why is the health and fitness industry so corrupt?
Why is fat demonized? I thought it makes you fat and it gives you swollen arteries. It's like, nah, bro, just shut the fuck up. I eat 6 whole eggs every single morning. I eat 6 whole eggs and then I eat steaks and meat throughout the entire day. I'm doing okay. I'm doing great. Anything else you want to comment on?
No, man, I'm good, man. I just appreciate you. I
always love having you in.
No, I just want to say, like, dude, like, I'm inspired watching you do, like, your craft, bro. Like, for real, like, I always have been. I always tell you that, like, you know, when it was just, like, photos and videos and, like, stuff, like, legitimately, the market is so oversaturated with the same shit over and over again, and like to see you do this, what you do is just so different, and like you're a real person who's like genuinely putting themselves out there and creating this content. And I know like this podcast is probably a headache for you to create, and you're not making money off of it. At least I don't think you are, right?
Not making money,
but you're creating such good shit that like I just want to say that like seeing that is inspiring to me. So
I
thank
appreciate
you.
that. It means a lot because like listen, just like anybody else, there's doubts every now and then. You're just sitting here, you're like, okay, well, the audio views are down, but the YouTube views are way up. So it's like, all right, well, I guess that's the new thing. And you have to just keep going like, well, how many episodes do I do before I start like looking at it going, all right, when are we going to make a little bit of money? Like when is it going to turn up? And you just kind of go, all right, man, whatever. Just stick with the process. Just have fun. Just keep doing what you did. And the real reason I started was because it wasn't to be a billionaire. It was just because I wanted to talk to my friends and talk to good people and learn about their lives and learn about the changes and the things that they're doing in other people's lives because it helps people that get to listen. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just about staying the course. And I appreciate you for always being supportive and throwing up the stories. And
I try, man. You know,
no, you do. You don't try. You do it. You do it. And I it doesn't go unnoticed. And I appreciate that. I did want to end on a Marcus Aurelius quote that I saw in his meditations book that I thought was pretty cool. I've been flipping through it. I haven't started it. It's kind of like a fucking 5-year-old speaking in this book. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's just because of like the time difference of like when it was like him journaling things back then, but it's pretty interesting to like hear certain things that he had to say.
It's probably a very rough translation.
It's a rough translation. Yeah. Our inward power, when it obeys nature, reacts to events by accommodating itself to what it faces. To what is possible, it needs no specific material. It pursues its own aim as circumstances allow. It turns obstacles into fuel. As a fire overwhelms what would have quenched a lamp, what's thrown on top of the conflagration is absorbed, consumed by it, and it makes it burn still higher. So fueling yourself, fueling your passions, that's what I got out of it. Mm-hmm. Just taking obstacles and learning and creating things from them. Super interesting to me. And that's life. And that's the journey that we're all on, is just being able to take these challenges, take everyday life and just become better.
Not only that, man, like if you don't do it on your own, everything will become a challenge, even microscopic, stupid things that should not become a challenge. And then you look for conflict absolutely everywhere. And that will just become, your entire identity, entire personality is just being triggered by everything,
Yeah, I don't want to live like that. And I know you don't either.
Absolutely not. How
can people check you out, get a hold of you?
My Instagram.
If they don't know you, but they should know you.
My name's Aaron Lohman.
Hey now.
Aaron. But Instagram, huge, HUGE_ fat, FAT_ loser. And then
it's still tough for me to say that, by the way.
I know.
It's still tough.
It's too late to change, though. It's
no, you can't get rid of it. Yeah. Nope.
There was a time period where I was going to change it. But
was there?
Yeah, I didn't do it. But yeah, that's it. And then TikTok, Instagram.
You keep it fluid through everything.
I'm on everything. So LinkedIn, Aaron Lohman. LinkedIn sucks. It's the fakest form of social media.
Oh my God, everyone fake jerking each other off on there.
Oh, dude, it's
like, all right, guys. That's why I don't even use it. I'm okay.
Yeah, I joined it and I was like, just to like put myself out there for the business world. But like, let me tell you something. Like, it's just people hiding behind headshots and degrees who really don't know that much shit.
Yeah, no life experience, and it's just a bunch of corporate douches just jerking each other. I can't stand it. I really don't like LinkedIn. Yep. Anyway, episode 78 with my brother, Aaron Lohman. I appreciate you for coming down, taking the time to chop it up. All you guys listening, I hope you guys got a laundry list of things from this episode because it was fucking amazing. He gave out gems. And, share it with people that can use the information, because there are definitely at least 4 or 5 people in each person. I did check the stats. I always laugh whenever I check the YouTube stats from other podcasters like Bedros and all these guys. It's pretty accurate. Like my numbers were like 70% of the people that watch aren't subscribed. So I find that crazy. And it was a lot of people say anywhere from 60 to 80% of the people that watch their show, even if they have 100,000, 200,000 views, millions, they're not subscribed. So please subscribe. Please like the episode. It helps the algorithm. It helps get me to reach out and speak to other people, amazing humans like Aaron. Share it. It helps. It really does. The algorithm loves when everyone interacts. Comment. Just do the whole 9 if you can. I'd appreciate it. On that note, I also appreciate y'all for fucking with us.